right. We are live. Woohoo. Fantastic. Banners up. Media's good to go. Going to zero out my timer. And here we go.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit on the tanker through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond.
So there I was in an F-14 with Admiral Wild Bill Hickok, the admiral of the battle group. And we are over Somalia when the CIA comes up on the radio frequency and says, are there any fighters airborne with some extra fuel for a special mission?
I know how that ends. That's a great teaser.
Yeah, man. Holy smokes. Fantastic, everybody. Repeat here, coming to you from New Hampshire. This is So There I Was podcast. Subscribe to us at sothereiwas.us or anywhere where you get your podcast. I'm at home in New Hampshire tonight. Fig, my co-host, where art thou?
Well, after 16 days in Costa Rica, I'm back in Kansas City, where it got to be 60 degrees today, which just totally blew my mind. Right. But more importantly, we have with us a very special guest.
Legend.
Legend. Well, yeah, we
aviation.
Can. Well, I think you should introduce him.
Words cannot describe the legendary status of this man. Heater, C.J. Heatley, the inspiration of Top Gun, author of 2 of the best aviation books ever printed on the planet. Ever. Cutting edge, forged in steel, naval aviation and marine aviation. Thank you, sir, for all you've done for naval aviation, and welcome, Heater, to So There I Was.
Welcome.
Wow. We're humbled. We're in...
yeah, and I can't wait to hear all these stories.
We're in rarefied air, right? Yeah. But you didn't start off taking pictures from an F-14. How is it that you got interested in aviation?
Well, my dad had some books, coffee table books, full of World War II, World War I, and Korea airplanes. So like you and a lot of other people listening, I fell in love with the Spitfire and the P-40 and the P-51 Mustang and all the classic airplanes of that era. And I just kept looking through those colored pages thinking, man, one day I'm going to see if I can be a photographer and get in the back of one of those airplanes and take pictures myself, just like this. So it took quite a while before I thought, well, hell, maybe I'll be the pilot instead of the photographer. But the dream started real young, 5, 6 years old, maybe even 4.
Okay.
With my neighbor. And we used to sit on top of the hill in Palmerton, Pennsylvania, overlooking the entire town. And we'd sit right next to each other. We'd dig a little cockpit. We had our cardboard with tin can silver circles from the end of tin can. We'd tape those like dials on this cardboard that we put against a twig in the ground, and find a good stick and another one for the throttle. And we'd sit there overlooking the town of Palmerton and act like we were flying around.
Some of the best flying you ever did, I bet.
Oh my God. Yeah. From 4, 5, 6 years old. And never lost it. Wanted to do it, but I had a lot of trouble with roller coasters and going over a hill fast with a car. I'd get that feeling in your throat and my stomach would get real light. So I always doubted that I'd be a pilot. And the backup plan was to be a photographer so I could take pictures of the airplanes that excited me so much. And then one day at Dorney Park, also in Pennsylvania, right there in Allentown, they had one of the biggest U.S. roller coasters. It was famous, and I wouldn't go on it because the smaller one scared me. But I bought 4 tickets, and I went on, and I said, I need to do this because I need to dive bomb, and I need to pull G's, and I need to make turns, just like this roller coaster. So I pretended I was chasing Messerschmitts with P-51s and Spitfires. And I thought in my mind, if I just ask this car to go faster because I need it to kill these guys, then I won't be afraid. I'll be asking for it to go faster instead of slow down. And the first time it didn't work. I was scared shitless. I almost got out. But I gave the girl another ticket, stayed in it because I was in the front seat where I wanted to be.
Right on.
And, I did the second one and I went, well, that one very good, but it was better than the first one. And then the third time I did it, I was literally, flying. I was pulling G's, and I had that imaginary airplane out in front of me, and I was actually driving around the roller coaster, acting like a pilot, wanting to go faster, wanting to dive steeper. And when I came back, it was like, oh man, here's another ticket. I need to do that again. When I got out the 4th time, I knew I'd be a fighter pilot. And I think I was 9 years old. And so from that point on, I wasn't worried about taking pictures. I just wanted to be a pilot, just like everybody I saw in the books.
That is fantastic. And I don't think I've ever heard of anybody taking that approach to overcome their motion dis-ease or sickness or whatever you want to call it. That is that's actually kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, the urge to fly was overwhelming. And
I get that.
Then when I was about 12, my uncle shows up, and he's a pilot in the Air Force. So he rents a Cessna 172-like airplane and takes me out in it, and we fly over my home. So I got to see my home from above, which most kids never get to see. And I saw all the trees and the 7 acres of lawn I mowed every week. And from that point on, I would dream about flying because I had that aerial view in my head. Yep. And so I dreamed I was a kite. I dreamed I'd be in an airplane. So all of my dreams had to do with aviation. And I was always airborne looking down. So my uncle's flight really, really turned a switch. And in a twist that I've never thought of till this moment, he visited me when I was flying MiGs in Nellis.
Oh. Okay.
So I was also in charge of the twin Cessnas that we took back and forth. And I had one in maintenance in Vegas, and I needed to get it back to Nellis. And I said, hey, Uncle Clay, just come with me. You can be in my right seat. I got to take the airplane back to Vegas anyway. So we took off out of Vegas and flew around a little bit for the test flight, and then landed it at Nellis Air Force Base. And I never thought about that. He started me in my career, and then I ended up being able to fly him in a twin Cessna.
That's badass.
Yeah,
it really is.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
That was the so when he took you flying, you said you're like about 12?
12, yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Hooked.
Yeah.
Hooked.
Imprinted on me like you cannot believe.
Right. Oh, man. Good stick time.
And nothing like the roller coaster, nothing like the, it was just all pure joy and excitement. So, and just phenomenal looking at everything, my school, the highways, all that stuff from the air for the first time. Pretty remarkable. And I hadn't flown in an airliner till I was 18.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
So that was my one and only flight until I was 18 years old. And I flew back from college once. All the rest of the times I hitchhiked.
There you go. Okay. So you did, speaking of college, so you went to Mizzou and did ROTC, as I recall. And then
journalist.
Yeah. I was struggling, didn't know what to do. And all these J school types were always busy and always intense. And everybody on campus would say, don't ever go to J school. Those guys work their ass off. And I took it the opposite way. I thought, wow, those guys are really motivated and I want what they got. And so I switched majors, went to journalism school, and I couldn't type fast enough to get through reporting 101. So I had to take press photography 1. Ironically, I wasn't even interested in photography, even though at 4, 5, and 6, that was going to be my way into flying. But I took the photography course. And then when I took my first picture, got in the dark room, developed the film, put it in the overhead projector, and printed it on the paper, put that in the deck doll and watched that image come up slow motion, and then put it in the fixer and took it out. I was hooked, just like when my uncle took me flying. I was so hooked, and I love photography, and I stuck with it from then till now.
Okay. What kind of camera was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, I couldn't afford one. It was a twin lens reflex. The schools. Not your typical 35. It was a 2 1/4 twin lens reflex.
Wow. Fantastic.
That's
yeah. And while the year that I switched into photography was my second year. So it was my sophomore year, which turned into another freshman year. I got in that FIP program that the ROTC had. First, they gave me a full scholarship after my first year as a contract. And they said, we'll give you the next 4 years for free and pay you $110 a month to boot.
Whoa.
Yeah. And that's something.
Yeah. But back then that was something.
That was real money in the 70s, 60s.
Yeah. I still washed dishes at the girls' college and I still pumped gas the whole time I was there. But the Navy had this flight program where you could go get your pilot's license. And so, man, I signed up for that right away and went out in a Cherokee 140.
Okay.
And I had a wild man, 23-year-old frustrated fighter pilot for an instructor who wrung that airplane out and showed me all the things that nobody else ever saw. I'll give you one little taste. I don't want to bore your audience. We can't show with hands. But when he went to the 180, instead of just turning 30 degrees and coming base and then final, he pulled it up into a stall, stomped on the opposite rudder, did 3/4 of a spin, ended up going straight down, and then he would pull out 90 degrees, and that would put you perpendicular to the runway really fast. And then you do a 90-degree turn really hard that would bleed off all the extra energy, level your wings, set it down in the end of the runway. And the beauty of that was in Columbia, Missouri, at the very end of the runway, at the threshold, it went down like 35, 40 degrees. So there was a slope, a steep slope. And that's where all the kids used to lay around and drink in the sunshine and picnic. So they'd watch airplanes come in and land over their head, but way up there on final. And then when I came in, And I pulled the nose up, stall it out, stomp on the rudder. It was a right base, so I left rudder and would go straight down, be below all these kids on the side of the hill, wrap it up 90 degrees, pull as hard as I could. Everybody's flying. I mean, food's flying, drinks flying, people are running because I'm right level with them. Roll my wings level, plop it down in the end of the runway.
No.
Never knew how crazy that was until I got into the training command and talked to other people about their private pilot's license experience.
Yeah.
But we would go out and do 2, 3, and 4G turns and see how close I could keep the needle on 0 on the altimeter. So he kind of felt like he knew I needed to be a fighter pilot. And so I got a little extra from that guy.
Yeah, you did. Holy shit.
Yeah, and then some.
I
and you're
just
still here to
lost-
talk about it. That's
I
what's
lost
amazing.
feeling in my fingers when you just did describe that. I was like, holy shit.
You did, yeah, you did what?
You
Yeah.
stalled
Yeah,
flipped on the rudder at the 180?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That's saying something. I mean,
Yeah. No, I'm speechless. So the training command was boring then, is what you're saying. So
Yeah.
So you had a private pilot's license when you went to flight school, or
When I was
more than that?
19, yeah.
Awesome.
When I was 19, it only takes about 14 or 15 hours. It's amazing. It's not that many hours to get your private pilot's license.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
so obviously a big help when you got to the training command. But well, did you do Pensacola
Yeah.
first?
That's cool.
Okay. And then obviously jets. Where'd you go for advanced?
Yeah, after T-34s in Pensacola, I went to Beeville, where I flew the T-2 and then the A-4. And when I was at Beeville, I called up my Mizzou honey, and I said, "Why don't you come down here? Let's get married." And so she packed everything she owned in her car and drove down. And we were about to get married, but we won a football game in the big state interbase football league. And I played at Mizzou. And so I was pretty good, and the team was pretty good. And we had to postpone the wedding until we got through with the playoffs and eventually won the championship. And then not too romantically, went to a Mexican justice of the peace who did the ceremony and officially in Spanish. And at the end, he said, $10, please. And so for $10, we got married.
Wait, so it was a Mexican justice of the peace, but you went to Mexico. You went to Mexico, yes?
No, he was there in Beeville to handle
Oh, he's
all
in
the
Beeville. Okay.
immigrants. Yeah, Beeville, Texas.
$10, please. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Fantastic. That
And he
may be a show
called
title.
And he called me Heatley. Blah, 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 Heatley, blah, 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 $10, please. And his niece was the witness. He called her out the back. This room was as small as an outhouse.
Oh
It was
my
a little
gosh.
white shack with his shingle out in front. And we were going to do it at the county, but the county was closed. So we went a couple blocks away, and there was this Mexican justice of the peace, and it's official. And it worked.
Fantastic.
53 years.
53 years later. So you
Yeah.
think you're going to stick with it, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
so you're gonna stick with her. I guess.
That's a keeper there that'll go to a Mexican justice of the peace for $10 after
Well-
putting off the wedding for a football game.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. You know, she's the keeper when she agreed to the. Yeah.
And we were both in jeans, and at that time we had our bell bottoms from college because that was big in the late 60s. And I didn't have the ring yet because we didn't have the right size, and I got the ring at the exchange, a gold band. So
Nice.
still have those.
Nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's like you read about. What a great story that is. All right. Well, I was going to ask any memorable stories from the training command, but that's one of the most memorable we've ever had, Fig.
Right. Right.
That's
I
all right.
have a good one. I
All right. Yeah.
I'll honor Captain Tut Fitzpatrick in your guys' honor, because he's a Marine. And he was a Vietnam veteran, and he flew the F-4. And I was now in the ACM, Air Combat Maneuvering, part of the syllabus. The last thing before you go to the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'd been doing real good. And so the instructors kept trading, and they kept trading up to get an instructor who could go 1v1 with me. And Tut had done a bunch of my FAM, and he was like King Kong in ACM because he was an F-4 pilot. Some of the other guys I flew with were surgrads, which
Yes.
Okay.
Students that graduated and got plowed back in. So Tut takes me up, and we do 3 engagements, fights on, do the whole dogfight thing. And I do real good. And we come back, and I'm in the ready room waiting for him. And I'm thinking he's going to be happy, but he doesn't look happy. And so I'm thinking, oh man, what did I do? I know I didn't break any rules of engagement. I wasn't sarcastic when I called guns, and so I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong. And he walks right past the little debrief room we have off the side of the ready room. And he goes back and into his office, and he comes out with this big yellow tactical manual. And he walks in the debriefing room, and he goes, "Here, this is the F-4 tactical manual." He says, "Read it. There's nothing else I can teach you." And I thought that was a really, really good moment. And
shit hot.
the other instructors sort of knew I wanted fighter planes, and I guess they knew that I was pretty good at dogfighting. And so the way that helped me is when I graduated and got my wings, they didn't give me orders. They didn't put me up for orders. And so the next week we're at the O Club, and everybody's getting their tie cut and their wings on and thrown in the pool, and you get A7s and you get A6s. And again, I didn't get any orders. They held me there for, I think, roughly 2 months, maybe 9 weeks. And finally, a set of F-4 orders came up to East Coast, VF-74, because Vietnam was winding down. A lot of fighter pilots were coming back, and I guess they didn't need that many more fighter pilots. So because of my reputation there, and because of the good heart of the instructors that kind of had empathy for me and said, "We need to get this guy a fighter slot," they held me back until one was available, and then I got it. So
that's really unheard of. I mean,
I know,
that's incredible.
Yeah, right.
I owe my whole career to them, and they didn't make me do a lot. I did a lot of errands and chores and tried to make myself useful as a dumb ensign that had nothing to do. But I did get on my motorcycle, and I raced motocross a lot. I got really good at that. And I learned
wide open
things.
ground down there in South Central Texas too. So,
oh my God, there was one of the best tracks was in Beeville, and I raced in San Antonio and Corpus and Kingsville and all over Texas. Every Sunday, new motocross, and I raced with the biggies, Brad Lackey and all those guys. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it was really cool to do that. And then later in life, a lot of the things I learned in motocross, I applied to dogfighting.
Give me an example.
all right.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Well, in motocross, when you're heading into a turn, normally, you know what a berm is in motocross, right?
Yeah.
Big high bank turn. So you drive into the turn, and everybody knows they have to brake and slow down. So what happens is, if you can accelerate longer than everyone else, In other words, when they start taking off the throttle and they start getting on the brakes, you're still accelerating. All that means is you have to decelerate faster, but you beat everyone to the berm. And then you lay your bike down like 80 degrees so that all the G goes down through the seat and into the wheel. And you go full throttle to pick your nose up, the front wheel, even though you're 80-degree angle of bank, and it pops you out of the berm, but you left everyone behind because while they were off the throttle or on the brake, you were accelerating, even if it was just enough to get a bike length or two in front of them.
Sure.
And then you mash your front brake, back brake, lay it on the side, full throttle, and go out of there. And so there's ways, I'm not sure your audience could understand that works in a dogfight, but they won't understand unless I bring out models and they're looking at the video. And but let's just say that's very applicable. Maybe later when we're talking about the MiGs and Top Gun, maybe I'll work it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think
I'm very intrigued by that. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And that's just one thing. That's just one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like having 30 motocrossers on a giant jump and you're 15 feet in the air and you're going 50, 55 miles an hour and your arms are out like this, beyond your shoulders on the grips. And you got this guy's handlebar right next to you in your ribs, and this guy's handlebars overlapping you here, just like in formation in fighter planes. And you look to your right and there's 10 guys airborne. You look to your left, there's 15 guys airborne, and they're all looking for a place to land. I mean, it's just freaking awesome. I loved it.
So obviously you were not risk adverse because motocross. I can tell you from personal experience, it's easy to break things in your body. Motocrossing.
It really is. And I was an idiot. I didn't wear the shoulder pads. I didn't have the rock mask on my face. And you get rocks thrown at you 80 miles an hour from the wheel in front of you. Oh, sure. And I didn't do that for some reason. I guess I knew I was a part-time motocrosser, so I didn't want to go whole hog on all the gear. You definitely need the boots. You have to have the motocross boots, or you'll never make it. And I had good leathers pants, but I wore a t-shirt and a really dumb helmet. The same helmet I use on my street bike, so that's kind of dumb.
Well, all right. This is explaining a lot to me.
Right?
Yeah.
So
well, later on, when I was a commanding officer and I'd look at JOs like that, I would tell them, "You have no apparent fear of death." And then I realized, oh yeah, that was me back then.
I know that guy.
Yep.
I've seen that guy, and he is me. Oh man, that's incredible.
You got F4s, yes, right out of you got an F4 slot, VF. What'd you say, 74?
Yeah, VF 74, and the F4 was a beautiful bird, and
that would have been one of my dream airplanes to fly. When I was selecting, they were not putting anybody else in F4s. There was Marine Corps had one squadron left. That was the photo squadron, and no, the answer was no.
Yeah, I loved it. Like Hemingway said about your first fighter, that happened to me, and I love that airplane, and I was so proud to fly it, and it looked so mean the way the wings came up and the tail went down, and it was just a beautiful airplane to me, and I felt like I belonged in it when I flew it. So
yeah,
it was a really good match. I got 2 cruises, over 300 traps, maybe 1,500 hours in it. So not bad for one tour.
No.
How was she to bring aboard compared to obviously the Tomcat would be your other best comparison, but
There she is right there.
pretty heavy and stable, or
Oh, that's it. Yeah. And that I even designed that tail. So
right with
you
the
can
devil's
see-
horns.
Well, it was 76. So I did the kind of Harley Davidson, but American flag on the rudder. We were the bedevilers. So that's a silhouette of the of the devil. And then the AJ was something I fooled around with fonts. And so that's what it looked like in that year.
That's pretty damn cool.
Fantastic.
Bago's back there
Yeah.
working the magic. He pulled
Absolutely.
that right out
Yeah,
there.
that guy's amazing. He can pull up
When
photos and stuff.
I went to Top Gun in the F4, I was the corrosion control officer. So I had him paint all the white. We had white rudders, white tail, white flight control surface, and the whole belly was white because we had a nuclear mission, and they thought that would help prevent radiation, and it would reflect it. But it made you a sitting duck in combat. So I painted the entire airplane with a dull gray, a flat gray, instead of the bright gray and the white. And so we were the first F4 to ever go through there painted like that.
Did that make a big difference?
It did enough
It
for
is.
me to work on what's now called the heater paint scheme. So I took that all gray airplane and then made it even better by making it 4 shades of gray, and then making it asymmetrical so that something on the airplane was always gone. So it fooled you as far as aspect deception,
Yeah.
fooled you with range, because the smaller you make something, the further away it looks. So it worked really well. I mean, really well. They made it a war reserve mode. It won the best camouflage and red flag. And a general did a test with me. I was in a T-38 that we put in the heater paint scheme, and we were doing the butterfly drill, which is nothing more than you get a mile apart, turn in, and the bogey doesn't move. You're just a banner for him to shoot at.
Yeah.
And then you see how many frames you can get on the fuselage. And if you get 24 on the fuselage, it's a kill. 24 all over the airplane is a kill. 12 on the fuselage is also a kill. Yeah, there you go. That's one of the Marine airplanes that is in the heater paint scheme. So the general does it. And the first time I turned away and he got fooled by the canopy on the bottom, and he reversed and lost me underneath his belly, and I turned back in and was able to shoot him, and he was supposed to just be gunning me. And so we started it up again, and long story short, he did about 8 or 9 runs, never got his pipper on once. We landed. He said, "Put that thing in the hangar. I'm classifying it." And I didn't have the nerve to tell him that there was 2 reserve squadrons with 24 airplanes at Miramar, all painted up, because VF 301 and 302 wanted it. And I already had an A4 and an F5 painted up at Top Gun like it. And so I did the T-38 while I was a Red Eagle up there in Tonopah. And the general wasn't aware of all the other stuff. So it took me a while to let him down.
Oh, sorry to tell you, Cat's already out of that.
Did you
bag,
give
General.
him the yes sir, no problem sir, and then later go, yeah, actually it's too late.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. Yep.
Hey,
Oh, that's fantastic.
can you tell maybe we're going to go there. Red Eagle, Tonopah. Yeah, can you talk about that later when we get to your?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because
Okay,
it was
I just
classified for 26 years, and then it was declassified. And one of the first things I had to do when it got declassified, the Navy called me up. I'm a civilian, and they said, "We're going to give you an admiral, and you're going to fly to San Diego, and you're going to tell Linda Brown what really happened to her husband. And I said it would be my honor. He was my squadron mate, and he went down in a MiG right next to the airfield. And I was the one that had to go there and photograph all the evidence of the crash site, and then put as much as I could get of Hugh in a rubber bag.
Oh, geez.
Put that in a helo, and we flew down and picked up the chaplain and went to Linda's house, and then we had to tell her. And yeah, that was.
There's no worse job than that.
Yeah, no worse job than that.
So the Red Eagles, you guys were flying the MiGs for Red Air in exercises, or you were just flying them?
Was it Top Gun or Air Force? Or well, you taught it both, right? Both Top Gun and Air Force weapons.
Right. So in '78, I was the designated MiG pilot for Top Gun for the class. So each class would go up to Nellis, and then I'd fly the 21 and the 17 against everybody, all day, several days until everybody got exposed. And me and a couple other guys. And VX4 had a couple guys.
Yeah. Which MiG, Heater? Which MiG was it?
I did the fish bed and fresco, the 17 and the 21.
Okay.
And so that was a whole separate thing in a whole different squadron. That was Area 51. That was in the box where nobody could fly.
Yeah.
And then they decided, and Gail Peck, who recently died, he's the fourth skipper that died. He died of cancer. We had 514 Red Eagles, 346 are dead, and most of the rest that are living have cancer like me. And so the ranges up there had 1,000 nuclear tests.
Oh my God.
100 of them were above ground. Several of them were tests of dirty bombs. They got Mustangs running around up there that had deformed and all kind of mutations. And the tritium and uranium and other radioactive material is all over the dust and the tumbleweeds and the cactus and the dirt up there.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
So it's a big scandal. And so almost everybody up there got some kind of really weird, strange disease. And when you think about it, 346 dead out of 514, and almost all the rest of us have cancer. And some of the guys, their kids got cancer. Their kids were born with brain tumors and other things. So
that's
horrible.
That's a staggering percentage.
That is, that's way off the charts.
What's horrible is DOE acknowledged it, but DOD decided that every week they delay this, more people die, and that's less people they have to pay off.
Sure.
And so they keep kicking the can down the road. And it got in a bill this year, and they were going to add it to the Agent Orange stuff. And even though it got passed, they pulled the appropriations out for it, so they can't do it. So they said they're going to relook at it in 2027. And it's just a shame because people are dying every week.
67%. 67%.
Yeah, exactly.
Have already died.
Yeah. That's
and
that's not your average population density.
No, and that's a very unique group. You talk about a small group. Wow, that's
exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah, the stealth guys. I don't know if you've done a show with the 117 guys, but they were up there right next to us after the first couple of years. They built a bunch of hangars and much more modern facilities. Hell, when I started, we were in a Jeep with a handheld radio for the tower, and one of the pilots that wasn't flying was the tower operator. And
wow.
And
ATC school for you.
Yeah, and we had no cafeteria like they had. I had a a microwave, and I would take 2 eggs, put it in a styrofoam cup, swirl it up with a fork, hit it for a couple 30 seconds, and then stir it again, and then wolf that down and run out and jump in a MiG and get my 5 hops that day.
Wow.
And that's how we did it on a shoestring.
Yeah.
And the 117s came in there, and they had some bucks. They did some good stuff. But from what I understand, the stealth pilots have a much higher rate of cancer. The ones that were up there. Where
No shit.
Yeah, Area 51 and 52 are full of plutonium.
I was a new hire with a guy at my airline who was a 117 pilot. I need to reach out to him. I haven't. Now, that being said, I haven't seen him in a decade. I don't know his status, but
Yeah, I got one too that I
yeah,
flew with
so-
a lot when I was.
Yeah. Ask
All
them
right.
about their buddies. You know.
Yeah. Okay. What about the what about the 17 and the 21? Which one did you like better, or how did you like flying the MiGs? It seems to me like there's where I keep my little airplane. There's a yak. I look in that thing and I'm going, oh, it's cool looking, but I don't want to fly it.
Good grief. Yeah. One of my squadron mates in the Red Eagles was Marshall McLeod, who later became a general, who was on track to be chief of staff of the Air Force. He was flying a yak in air shows, and he borrowed one that was a little different, and the inverted spin controls were the opposite of the one he owned.
Oh no.
And he took his friend up in Alaska, where he had a wing up there, and did an intentional spin, as he loved to do. And he put the anti-spin controls to get out of it, and it wrapped up tighter, and he crashed, killed them both.
Wow.
And so when you said yak, that's the first time I thought of Marshall in a long time. He was my best friend up there, and he was the cookie monster to my kid because he lived near us in Vegas. my wife made chocolate chip cookies all the time, and he would come over and eat them and play the cookie monster for my little kids.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But the question was, which airplane? They both smelled like a hydraulic leak with an electrical fire. Because,
You know, that's a perfect description.
yeah, you get in that old airplane and you just take one breath and you smell hydraulic fluid and burnt electrical lines. And it was because most of them were wrecks. They got them out of deserts and swamps and wherever they were shot down. And we got a couple off of the pedestal out in front of the base overseas. So they were everywhere from Egypt to the Golan Heights to the Singapore, Philippines, Southeast Asia region, we'll say. And we brought back parts and pieces and some whole airplanes, and those guys were magical. I mean, the crew, the Air Force guys that we had were unbelievable. And they put these airplanes together and we flew them.
Wow.
And so we clearly trusted them with our lives.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
and they worked. They worked. And the crash was pilot error. So later on, there was a crash of a MiG-23 that was an aircraft problem that killed Toasty. But otherwise, we flew the hell out of those things all day long, day after day after day, and they just worked. And those engines were designed to be thrown away at 200 hours.
No shit.
We just kept going, and yeah, I loved it because I would.
So, do they have the Russian engines, or were they re-engine them with any of ours?
Oh no! They were all.
How did they keep them going?
Yeah, I know.
That's truly amazing, right there.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And you taxi in like with a 17, and then I know my next hop's in a 21, and I see them getting it ready next door, and they're like, "We got to fuel it up, sir." And I said, okay, I'll get that. And I'd run out, jump on top of the turtleback, stick the fuel in there, and gas it up myself, do whatever it takes, fill it with oil. So it was a group effort a lot of times, but usually the crew chiefs had it all squared away, ready for you to go.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And because they were old, you would think that airplanes that were built 40 years later would kick their ass.
Right.
But the MiG-17 turned like a racquetball off a wall. So it was amazing. And
okay.
yeah, there it is. And that thing was small. When you pointed at somebody, it was like an invisibility switch. All you had is that little hole staring at you. And the afterburner looked like a trash can fire. It wasn't like a Tomcat or any other afterburner you saw. It was just this candle flickering out the back, where they just dumped raw fuel into the back of the engine. That was their afterburner. And you could hardly feel it. I mean, in an F-14 or any other airplane, it gives you a good kick in the ass, and you know you're in afterburner, and you can actually feel all the zones as you go up. And the MiG-17, you could barely feel it. And the
So you're just pissing fuel overboard, and it happened to catch on fire before it left.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Oh man!
And then the other thing is, it didn't have hydraulic controls. It had boosted ailerons, so it had a little bit of help there, but a manual rudder and a manual elevator, if you can believe that. So when we're going above 400 knots, it was pure biceps power.
Oh my gosh!
In other words,
I'm thinking, yeah, it's like lifting weights just to move that airplane.
Absolutely, you felt like you were bending the stick, like you were going to pull the top off the stick, and that would only get you 4 or 5 Gs. But all you had to do is slow down a little bit. You slow down to 375, and now you're at 6.5 Gs. 350, you got 7.5 Gs. And man, when you do 7.5 Gs at 350, you are making some angles. And boy, that intimidated all the American fighters. You could get your nose on them real fast.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
How hard was it to learn Russian tactics to fly against these guys? Was it, or what? I guess not how hard. How long was that process? Is it better?
The test pilots at the 6513th Test Squadron, which was in Area 51, they're a different breed. And you know, test pilots, one of the things they do to graduate from class is you go out in an airplane you've never flown before, never read about, don't know anything about, and you go out and fly it, and you have to come back with everything. You have to come back with V1, V2, stall speeds, top speed, Gs at what airspeed, you know, all that stuff. You write it down on your knee board, and that's what makes a good test pilot. They can ring out an airplane and tell you what it can and cannot do. And so there's no syllabus. It's like, there's the airplane, go get in it, and we'll help you get it started. And then you taxi it out and take off. And so
don't fuck it up.
Yeah. And so everyone would come out, because the hardest thing about the MiGs was taxiing, because they had a hand brake, and then you diverted the air from the brake on the lever with your hand with the rudders. So if you wanted to turn left, you put the brake on and then put the left rudder, and then that would put the left brake on. But it was delayed. If you've ever driven a boat, you know, a 14, 18 footer, you know how you have to put the control in and then take it out, because the boat's going to do its thing. And if you don't take it out soon enough, it goes way beyond. And same way with the MiGs. So people came out because pilots in the past, after the startup, in their spot, would actually start turning, and then it would go too far, so they'd put both brakes on and stop it. Then they'd have to put a whole lot of power on, and then they'd put the other brake on to get it back where it was, and that would overcorrect. And after 3 or 4 of those, they'd be pointed at the hangar doors, stuck, and they'd have to shut down and start all over again, turn it around, and get out of there. So lucky for me, I was up there for one of those. And while everybody's on the ground laughing at the pilot because he can't even taxi a MiG out, I'm thinking that could be me
Yeah.
tomorrow. So I realized what was going on, and I realized, okay, I'm going to just do I'm going to tap the brake and see what happens with the nose, and I'm going to go back to neutral, and then I'll just keep making little corrections till I get what I want. And so I was able to do that, and I didn't have to shut down and start all over again. I was able to taxi out, take off, and go on the flight.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. And what's really cool is when you're done with the 17, then you do the 21.
Which was more difficult, or which did you like better of the two? The 21 looks like it's a little faster.
The 21, I did Mach 2 in.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
It looks like it takes about 2 acres to turn. I mean, is it true, or does it turn pretty good?
No, Delta wings are famous for their instantaneous turn.
Okay.
So whether you're a 106 or a MiG-21, a Delta wing, it bleeds, but man, you can put some rate on. So you can go from 450 to 250 in just a few seconds, and that turns all that airspeed into angles because you're really hauling around the corner. So it is almost like an F5. It really does everything like an F5. Okay. And it's the same size, same kind of turn rate, a little better sustained G, but probably a better slow fighter. So if you're way below 150 and you're in a knife fight in a phone booth, the MiG-21 will beat the F5. But everywhere else, I think the F5E has an advantage, just a slight advantage. But terrific simulator for the MiG-21. So all the years of Top Gun that everybody flew against us in the F5, if they could handle that, they can handle a MiG-21.
Okay. Nice. All right. Well, Fig, I got bad news, man. We've been doing this almost an hour now.
Okay.
I know, right?
I haven't gotten to the best parts yet.
No.
I'm waiting to hear this is
we got plenty more good stuff to do. But for just a moment, I'd like to take a moment and talk about our sponsor. Because every once in a while, something crosses my desk that makes me pause and say, okay, this isn't just another gadget. This is one of those moments. The Anti-Gravity A1 officially launched on December 4th, and it's not just a new drone. It's an entirely new way to experience flight. It's the world's first 8K 360 drone, and it's sold as a complete system. The drone itself, the vision goggles, and the grip controller. Everything you need right out of the box. Here's what makes it different. Most drones feel like you're flying a camera from the outside. The A1 flips that around. You put on the vision goggles and suddenly you're inside the flight. You can turn your head and look anywhere, explore freely, cliffs, coastlines, tree lines, all in smooth, real-time, immersive 360. It feels natural, intuitive, almost instinctive. And speaking of instinct, the free motion control mode is where this thing really shines. No sticks, no memorized control inputs. You point the grip controller where you want it to go, pull the trigger, and the drone follows your intent. That's it. It's accessible in seconds, which makes it perfect, not just for experienced pilots, but for anyone. Friends, family, first-timers, people who have always wanted to fly, but didn't want the learning curve. And because the A1 weighs less than 249 grams, this is designed for recreational flying without the licensing headache. You're not buying complexity, you're buying freedom. And for you creators, this is where the A1 becomes something special. It captures 8K 360 video, which means you fly once and decide everything later. Missed an angle? Doesn't matter. Want a cinematic orbit or a straight ahead push, a top-down reveal or something wild and dynamic? It's already there. One flight can turn into endless edits, and thanks to invisible drone stitching, the aircraft itself completely disappears from the final shot. There's also SkyPath, which is a feature that lets you design a flight route and let the drone fly it autonomously. Hand the goggles to someone else and watch their reaction as they experience flight from the inside. It turns flying into something shared, and that's rare. So here's my take as someone who lives in aviation and in storytelling. I don't get excited by much, but if you're looking for a standout Christmas gift, something memorable, immersive, and genuinely different, this would be my first choice. Not just a drone, but an experience. The Anti-Gravity A1 is the world's first 8K 360 drone. It's genuinely a game changer. Full immersive flight with the goggles, insanely intuitive controls, and endless creative freedom in editing. If you're thinking about buying a drone, make it this one. Check out the link. So thereiwas.us/anti-gravity to take you to the site where you can get your hands on one of these. Again, so thereiwas.us/anti-gravity. One word. And thanks to Anti-Gravity for sponsoring this episode. Indeed. Thank you very much. Wow. I am having so much fun. Thank you.
Hey, I got a tie-in for you.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So while I'm at Area 51, all the people are talking about the anti-grav vehicles. And they didn't say anti-gravity. They always said the anti-grav vehicles.
Okay.
There was Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. 3 different sizes inside a hangar, tethered to the ground because the anti-gravity apparently was still working. 3 alien vehicles. So every chance I could, and Area 51 is a very compartmentalized place. In fact, there were times where the MiG pilots they said, we need you to go in that room and put a helmet bag over your head. And no matter what you hear or you think you see, you don't see anything but the inside of your helmet bag. And then they would say, the vice president's not even briefed in on this. And then you'd hear all this commotion and stuff. And you'd wonder, well, I wonder what that is. So I would look around every chance I could in that environment to try to find the anti-grav vehicles. And I would slip in all kinds of places I didn't belong and never did find them. Otherwise, you'd already see a book and a movie. But I never found them. I don't believe they were there because I looked in all the spots they could be, and I didn't find them. But everyone who would fly into Groom Lake and everyone that flew out of Area 51 heard about that, talked about that, but I tried to confirm it and I couldn't.
Well, damn it.
Right?
Well, that just leaves more questions now.
Right?
I know, but it's interesting that the drone is called anti-grav.
Anti-gravity, yeah. It's
Weird.
a new one. It's a pretty cool setup they've got. So, all right. Well, man, we got so much good stuff to keep going over here from ACM, and I just think I still am in awe that they held on to you to make sure you got a fighter slot. That is just that is such a rare thing. It's 99.9% of the time the needs of the Navy, needs of the Marine Corps, and what you want doesn't matter. So it's always wonderful to hear somebody getting a good deal.
So
go ahead.
So you sent me something right before I went to Costa Rica, and I read it, and so I may not have this right in my head. But Heater, you did a tour in F4s, and then did you go to Top Gun? Did you go to the Top Gun the course in the F4, or were you an instructor first?
So first I went as a student, and that was lucky, and it goes right into what Repeat was just saying. So I had those guys in the training command that got me the fighter slot. And now here's a quick little story about how the Rios in VF-74 got me to Top Gun. Because the skipper, who was really old school, thought he would fly against all the JOs, the junior officers in the squadron, and then he would pick who was going to get the Top Gun slot. So he flew against all of us, and some of the guys, got shot all 3 times. Some of the guys were like 50-50. With me, he tried something tricky, and I got him real quick. And so the next one, we turned and burned, and I got him again. I'm feeling real good. And so he says, one more, and fights on. And we just turned and pulled our guts out. We went 2-circle. And I pulled and pulled, and I thought I had him right where I wanted him. And maybe a little bit of tunnel vision from the G, but I lost him. And I had really good eyes, so losing somebody was really bad for anybody, but it was particularly bad for me. And I thought, shit, there goes Top Gun. I can't believe it. I did everything right. So in a split second, I'm starting to try to piece my essay back together and go, okay, he was here, he was this airspeed, he was this G, I was doing this. And I lower my head a little bit in the F4, and above the canopy rail, or behind the canopy rail where I couldn't see him, there's 2 tailpipes in front of me about a mile. And I go, box 2 on the F4 heading 270. And the fight was over, and I'm 3 for 3, feeling really good. All right, nobody did that good. I got my Top Gun slot. So we get back and get to an AOM, all officers meeting, and the skipper announces that he's going to put this other guy that he beat 3 times to Top Gun. And the Rios go with them. I think I talked about this in Jello's podcast, if this sounds familiar. The Rios say, hey, skipper, you're not supposed to send the worst guy. You're supposed to send the best of the best to Top Gun, because he's going to go learn all that stuff, and then he's going to come back and teach it. And he goes, yeah, but Hank cut that out. This guy needs the training. And they said, well, that's not what it's for, skipper. And so that's how it was left. And the next day he tells me, Heater, you're going to Top Gun, kind of like in the movie. And so I went to Top Gun as a student, and I mean, it was everything I thought it would be and 100 times more. It was unbelievable. And I got to meet all the legends, because that was in like 70, 75.
Okay.
A lot of the original people were still there or had come back, and all the legends were there, and I got to fly against all of them, and it was awesome. So I come back from that, and you may or may not know, there's no Top Gun trophy, but what they do is they sit down after the class is over, and I had to do this with all of my classes, and you go over who do you want back as a Top Gun instructor, because you just don't want the best dogfighter or the guy who flies his airplane to the max. You want somebody that's credible, of course, but if they're not humble and they're not approachable, they can't be a good Top Gun instructor. And so we're always looking for those 3 things, believe it or not. And I get a message from one of the guys there after they had their meeting, and they said, Heater, keep it under your hat, but you're coming to Top Gun. And then about a year later, when my orders came, I was a Top Gun instructor. So I went to San Diego, and man, that changed my life.
So before we go very much further, one of our listeners who's listening right now wants to know if the beach volleyball is all of this cracked up to be, in the movie.
I was there. There was no court there. They brought in sand. They put in the court. They put in the volleyball. He became my really good friend, Tony Scott, the director.
Yeah.
Wanted a bunch of sweaty, bearskin men doing physical activity for the movie.
Okay.
And the guys couldn't really do volleyball that well. So they hired a bunch of lookalikes from San Diego State. And they dyed their hair, they cut their hair, they did makeup, they did everything they could. And I'm telling you, because I was there, you had to look really close. And I already knew Tom and Val Kilmer really well, and Slider and all the guys, Rick Bosovich. And I mean, it took me to do a double take to see who was who. And so the way Tony cut it, he could use close-ups of the real actors, and it really sold it. But some of the spikes and some of the other shots and the serve, that's from the University of San Diego.
San Diego? Oh, that's great.
State University volleyball team.
Shit.
That's outstanding.
Oh, man.
Question.
Yes, yes, it did. Thank you.
Yeah, so fantastic. So was Dan Peterson still around in those days?
Good friend of mine. And yeah, he was there. He actually ended up being skipper ranger when I was on the boat as a department head. And really, really good man and father of Top Gun. So just a wonderful guy. Wrote a great book. Yeah, he's Yank. He's awesome.
There it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, holding it in my hand. Yeah. So, all right. I'm going to ask the question, hoping against hope, but is he still with us?
He's still with us, and I would love to show you the inscription he wrote in my copy of that book.
Oh, fantastic.
That would feed the fighter pilots have big egos, so I won't do that.
Well, there you go.
Come on. Yeah. That's all right.
Top Gun, An American Story by Dan Peterson, P-E-D as in Delta, E-R-S-E-N. Dan Peterson, the father of Top Gun. So, well, shit hot.
Hey, we kind of already...
He's got to be in his 90s now, huh?
Yeah, he's getting up there, but he still comes to the Top Gun reunions, and I've seen him the last couple of years at a couple different functions.
Wow.
Fabulous guy.
That's fantastic. So,
it was only like 3 years ago he flew with the Blues and pulled 7 Gs. He was really...
That pisses me off.
I know. He was really proud of that.
I feel like if I did that right now, I couldn't walk for a week.
Right?
It would break your back. I mean, I can't believe
it hurts every day.
No kidding. Oh, God bless him. That is so cool. That is fantastic news to hear.
Mine is all titanium. From my tailbone to my solar plexus, it's all fused. It's all titanium, giant 10-inch rods up the side.
Oh, my gosh.
And my neck, at least 5 of them are fused in my neck.
Oh, so they go through your throat to do that too. I see you pointing at the front, but when they fuse your vertebrae, they go through your throat.
Twice. So I have one scar on top of another, 20 years apart.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. After the first fusion, the fused vertebra puts so much pressure on the ones above and below because it's 3 now instead of 1.
Yeah.
That makes those go bad. And then those have to be fused. And they said, yep, just like clockwork, 20 years, you're due.
Son of a bad word.
He fixed me up really good. Works great. Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
Well, I hope I don't go there.
Yeah. So when did you wind up going to the 14?
I don't think you will, Fig, because it turns out that amyloidosis causes stenosis of the spine. And it causes ligaments to rupture. So we didn't know it, but the stenosis in my spine is why I had all those surgeries. And then to really confirm that it was the amyloidosis, that pops ligaments, I had 7 surgeries in both shoulders, 4 in the pitching shoulder, 3 in this one. I had both biceps pop off.
Oh my gosh.
Sewn back on, and both hamstrings ruptured. So my new doctor that figured this out 2 years ago said, yeah, those are all precursor symptoms for amyloidosis.
Oh my gosh.
So I felt better that all the fun I had flying and all the G's I pulled, which was tons of G's over all those years, probably didn't cause my back problem. It was the amyloidosis.
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay.
Were you going to ask him a question? Because I got.
Well, I was good. Yeah. So my question was basically, at what point did you wind up going to the Tomcat?
So after I had about 3,000 hours in F4s and MiGs and all the Top Gun, 2 years of Top Gun flying 2-3 times every day, all the time, except on debts. Then you flew like 5 times a day. So I had flown against the the Tomcat a whole bunch, but I never flew in it. And so when I got orders to go to VF1 as a department head, I had to go through the RAG. Mm-hmm. And they put me on a very shortened syllabus because, man, I thought I was like a hand in a glove with the F4. It was unbelievable with the F-14. There was just something about the Tomcat that I felt like I'd been that airplane for 5,000 hours the first time I got in it. And it just did everything I wanted to do and never surprised me. And everything I asked it to do, it did. And,
so you're in alphas or deltas first?
Oh, I was only alphas. I would have given
okay.
left nut to fly the big engines. I shouldn't say big engines because they were actually lighter and more efficient than the original A engines. Can you imagine that? They were lighter, more efficient, and they had more power in mil than the A in Zone 5 afterburner.
Okay,
that's why the D's never even used afterburner on takeoffs because, for one thing, they'd melt the JBDs. And another thing,
well, there's that,
right?
They had more thrust than they needed, so they flew in mil. I would have killed to fly that airplane. I mean, that because all the A was missing was thrust, and man, and then all the other good stuff they put in the D, with the lantern pod and the big screen in the back and the new radar. Oh my God, that's the best bomber in the world.
Yeah. Could you briefly talk about the zones of afterburner? I don't think we've ever talked about that on this show.
No. Yeah, that'd be good.
That takes 5 seconds.
Okay.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's.
Is it notched on the throttles? Is it notched?
You can sort of feel a little bit. It's not a big notch, but if you're real sensitive, you can feel with each, let's say, 1 inch forward, maybe 3/4 of an inch. That's zone 1, and then another 3/4, zone 2, another 3/4. There's no notch. There's no labels.
Okay.
All the way forward is zone 5. All the way back is zone 1. And then it comes to a detent, and you're back to mil power. So it's not a big deal. It's not like use zone 4 for this, use zone 1 for that. It's like I said with motocross fig. You're either at full power or idle.
Right. Yeah.
Because you either need more airspeed or G, or you need to bleed airspeed and turn it into angles. And if you're too fast and you're turning, you better be at idle. So just like motocross.
Nothing in between.
Did you take a lot of pictures from the F4 when you were flying it? I know you took a lot of pictures from the F-14.
Or when did you start taking pictures?
Yeah, when did
This
you
is
start
a
putting these?
very, very sad story. I start taking pictures in the training command, and they liked them so much, they actually took me out to the boat when I was in FAM. So I actually got a trap and a cat and got to go all over the boat because they wanted me to document the T2's care quality. So
No way.
somebody there figured out that I was a photographer and just had me do it, and I gave them all the film. So the really sad, unfortunate part is when you're in the med, a lot of times you're out for 100 days and then you go back and you go to Naples. And they had this big bureau in the middle of the exchange, and it had open wooden drawers, and it had all the slides from Kodak stuck in there. And you had to find your name and then get all the slides. So I went in after shooting probably 75 rolls of film, just short of 100 rolls of film. So times that times 36 a roll.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I put all those in there and for development and came back when the cruise was over. And we had another, I guess we're out there another 6 weeks or so. Came back, couldn't wait to pick up my slides. I'm looking in the H, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Somebody figured out that I could take pictures, and they stole every one of my slides.
Oh my
And I
god.
had them. We tried to track them down, and they said no. We know that they ended up in here, but it was just wide open. I mean, just like an open drawer.
Oh,
And,
that is so heartbreaking to hear.
oh, I had the most amazing stuff. Just awesome.
Yeah.
Stuff.
My similar story was A4 carrier quals. I actually wound up, a guy took a shot of me and sparks coming off my tail hook and smoke coming off my mains. And I sent that negative off to have it made into a poster, and haven't seen it since.
Somebody's
Well,
got
here-
Yeah, but I didn't lose thousands of pictures. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, here's a bookend tragedy of slides. So, of course, I did the 3 lectures for the MiGs, right? So Kodak Carousel has 140 slides. So I got 140 slides of the MiG 17, 21, 23. And I mean, these are for briefings. So I got diamonds, F-15 in the lead, F-15 in the slot, MiG-17 on one side, MiG-21 on the other, and then everything you can think of. F-14s, MiG-23s, you name it, all in diamond formations or parade formation. And of course, it's a photo mission. So I controlled the light and the shadows and the background in the desert. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. Luckily, we gave the lectures for many years until the slides were put in the Pentagon. On 9/11, that airplane that hit the side of the Pentagon hit the vault where all those slides were stored.
Of course it did.
Everyone burnt up, gone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they called me up and they said, please tell me you made copies, Heater, please. We'll waive any security violations. Don't worry about any kind of prosecution. Just anything you got, we'll take. And I said, sorry, man. I was classified that way.
I played by your rules. Yeah.
I played by your rules. That was it. Those were it. They're gone.
All right. Well, you just triggered a thought or a question for me when you said you controlled, the background and the lighting and everything, because these were a photo shoot. So did you get involved in that sort of thing with the filming of the movie? With times of day, the lighting and that sort of thing for the aerial cinematography?
No, they just, did you know I shot with a camera, an Aeroflex? Did you know that?
I did
No.
not.
Oh, okay. So, the movie started on the famous F-14 photo over my shoulder, right? Or maybe you
Yes.
don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I read that.
that
Bago, you're killing me, man. Bago has the cover of Cutting Edge up right now.
yeah. So that picture right there, the producers were in a dentist's office because one of them had a toothache. And Jerry Bruckheimer is looking through California Magazine. He comes to a double spread of that photo. And he particularly liked the reflection in the visor, but he loved the airplanes, the sky, all that. And he said, "This looks like Star Wars on Earth. This is our next movie." And he plopped the magazine on his buddy's lap. And that's how they started the movie Top Gun. They did a treatment from that photo and went to SecNav and asked if they could get the Navy's cooperation on the movie. And Lehman, you know him, he green lighted it. So they knew I shot, and Tony had already been to my house a couple times. He already selected like a couple dozen photos to put all over the Top Gun offices and on the carrier. So almost every photo you see in the movie that's on the wall, that's my photo. So he asked to use me, since he knew I was a photographer, even though I wasn't a cinematographer. He said, "We're going to get Heater to go up and shoot some dogfights and the missile shoot and stuff like that." And because his guys were getting sick anyway. And they didn't have a secret clearance, top secret clearance for the missile shoot. And they needed to be that and also be a safety observer, of which I was both. So Tony says, "I'm going to get Heater to do this." And the Navy killed it. And he said, "Why?" And the Navy said, "We'll get sued by the cinematographer union. We don't need that. Somebody's going to be pissed that the Navy shot it for free." And Tony came up with a solution. He hired a guy who's a friend of mine to this day. He was a big cinematographer in Hollywood. And I won't say his name because he doesn't even put his name on Facebook, but I'll just call him Glenn. Great guy, met his wife and him, and he used to send me Christmas cards every year because he made all of my money. Every time I flew, they paid him. And that way the union couldn't sue Tony or Paramount.
Yeah.
So he helped me learn how to do the Aeroflex. And then I would go up there and shoot like almost all the overwater scenes. So the landing at night, and you had to do that from 3 different points of view. So I had to be the guy landing, then I had to be Tom Cruise, Maverick helping him. Then I had to be a third point of view showing Tom being the wingman for the guy trying to land. So we did that a bunch. When the engine flamed out in another scene and some of the dogfight scenes, and then every single missile shoot, of course, I shot. Now, what's interesting is the first time I went up, the film broke. We barely got started shooting and the film broke. And this is a giant Aeroflex. If you ever remember doing your reel-to-reel films that you showed in the ready room decades ago, so it wove through all those sprockets just like that.
Oh,
so I'm like, what am I gonna do now? I don't know what to do. So I opened up where the sprockets were. I see the films ripped in half. So I take a little thumbnail and get it under my reflective tape on my helmet, and I get enough off to splice the film together. And I spliced
That's fantastic.
Closed it and pulled the trigger, and sure enough, I'm shooting again. And I shot at least 8 more missile shoots. And I flew a bunch. I flew with maybe 3 different F-14 pilots on at least 8 or 9 different sorties and a couple in the A4. And I flew with that big, heavy Aeroflex. And when Bozo did the aileron roll over the carrier, I was in his back seat. We were doing other stuff besides that. So I got to shoot all of that and grade everybody on the missile shoot and be the safety observer.
That's pretty damn cool.
Busy man that day. You know, it's funny. You just don't even think of that shit anymore because of digital photography. And that was the original high def photography. Yeah, you had celluloid how much did that thing weigh? Because then I'm going to ask you how much it weighed at 6 Gs.
It was big and it was heavy, and you'd have to Google it. I don't know, but hell, when you're in a cockpit, even 10 pounds is a lot to hold in your hand,
right?
Oh, yeah,
to try to be steady. So it was interesting, but I had to do my job too. And the 130 pilot that was launching drones for the missile shoot for the guys to shoot down, he decided after the first 7 that he knew this was the last shoot, that he would come in and take a look at the drone blowing up. So we're driving in, and remember, I'm in an F-14 in the back seat. So I'm on the radar doing my safety observer and complex observer stuff. So I'm grading them and safety, and I got the camera, but I don't need to worry about the camera till they're ready to shoot. And they can't shoot until I tell them the range is green, right?
Right.
So they got a lock, and I'm looking at my radar, and I look out at him at my right 3 o'clock, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's 4 miles further out than the drone. And so I start screwing around with the radar, and I call up the 130, and I ask him, I said, what's your heading? And he tells me he's coming right at us, and it's 180 out of what it should be. And I said, execute a 180 turn immediately. And so I could see he put it in a turn. And luckily, that was still beyond the range that the guy was going to shoot. So I had to wait till he turned around and got out of the envelope. And then, of course, when he's going the other way and the drone's coming at us at 450 knots, there's a lot of separation. And it finally got to where I could call a green range. But had I not seen that, it would have been a real horrible mess.
Bad luck to shoot down.
Oh my God!
Your C-130. Holy shit!
That's what they would have said. That's because he had a camera. Damn it!
Exactly.
They'd have court-martialed me. I'd have went to Fort Leavenworth, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Right. Oh man. Well, speaking of doing your job and having a camera, I asked you yesterday in a quick pre-show chat if you were familiar with Nasty Manazer. We've had him on a couple, and you had a good Nasty story. Will you share that with us?
Well, it's his story. He told.
Well, yeah.
He
Fair enough.
And I can't remember where I saw it, or if I just can't remember what podcast it was on. But anyway, we were up tanking on a 130 because everybody needed to be 130 qualled. And
135?
Yeah, 135, sorry.
Okay.
And with the real hard hose that didn't retract. And
they wouldn't let Harriers tank on them because they kept ripping our probes off.
yeah. I did that to some Navy airplanes too. And a lot of skippers would take the probe door off because that kept getting caught on the basket, and then it would get ripped off and go down the intake, fought an engine. Big emergency. So everybody's up there, trying to get the probe in the basket, which is very hard. It's not like on an A6 or even an A7, which is a little harder because of the wingtip vortices. But a Navy basket, when you were cool, you used to pull right up where you're supposed to be and then put the probe out. And then the probe would come out and stick right in the basket. And then you go, how about that, guys? I like that trick a lot. I used to do that. But on this one, I put the probe out and I said, all right, I'm going to stick it because everybody else was having so much trouble. It took a long time for them to get, I think you needed 6 plugs to get qualled. So you'd plug and then unplug and then plug again. And I didn't have pictures for the RAG. I was in the RAG as an OPSO at the time. And so I decided I would go up there and take photos so that we could brief the 135 because we really didn't have anything to brief anybody when they went out. And after everybody does their stabbing at it, they go up on the right wing of the KC-135, and Nasty's one of them who's over there, and I didn't even realize it at the time. And I go in and plug, and he's thinking, at least this is what he said, he's thinking, damn, Heater got it on the first time. And then he says he looks down, and he sees my head bob, and I come up and I got this big black Nikon in my hand, and I've got the hose laid in a C over my radome, just like you're supposed to do it. But in my right hand, I've got a camera and I'm taking pictures of the whole thing. And then I put the camera away and then I back out. And I was glad he told that story because obviously I've never told it before until I told you yesterday.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Yeah, getting that. Whoa.
There's the C on the nose.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. There it is.
Yeah.
Boy,
Picture of a 14
what
in
a good guy you have.
from the 135. Yeah.
Yeah, Bago's a magician. You think something, and before it comes out of your mouth, boop, he's got pictures up. I don't know how he does it.
But most people don't even see the video, right?
Most don't. Yeah. We're heavily audio concentric. So if you want to see some of these photos, I'll put them on the blog post for this episode at sothereiwas.us/episode/190. And who knows, maybe 191 too. We've got, we're just having a ball. We're just getting cranked up here. It's good stuff. Oh man. So
you're gonna have to edit out half this stuff for time.
No, that's a beautiful thing about it is we are long form, and the worst case, best case, I'll split it into 2 shows. So we may crank it off right about here. In fact, this is a good place to do it. Come and join us next week for more with Heater. All right, there we go.
Double.
So, and now they're going to have to come back to the second show because, in fact, I'm going to put the timestamp break in right there. They're going to have to come back to the second show to close out anybody, CIA calling for anybody with gas.
Yeah.
So
I know how that ends. That's a great story.
Yeah, that is a great story. So, this is fantastic. Taking shots for Top Gun. Well, there was something about Top Gun I was going to ask. Oh, no, how I knew that movie was bullshit was I've never seen a squadron with that many guys in that good a shape. So just too much beer drinking on a Friday night. Maybe that's gone away. I don't know.
Well, Heater.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell you this.
I wouldn't say that. I know in the freelancers we had our own gym, and
shit hot.
The ship had a gym, but we had the freelancer gym, and I had some really fit guys. I mean, incredibly fit, and the ready room in VF1 also was really fit guys. They were stereotypical.
You know what surprises me about that is we didn't have a gym in our squadron spaces, and I'm kind of shocked.
Well,
now looking back at
our squadron spaces were kind of shitty.
Well, they were tiny. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Although Schwarzenegger gave our base a bunch of weightlifting equipment after True Lies. That was our squadron that flew that, and
nice.
Well,
I think the bottom line here is, and Heater's a gentleman, and he didn't come out and say it, but basically the good-looking guys are in the Navy. Fucking knuckle draggers are in the Marine Corps.
Well,
Yeah,
It is what it is.
that's okay. That's all right.
Oh, fantastic.
Big's lips.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's all right.
All right. So I'm trying to think more. So more photos. Oh, I know. So, what would you say is the most memorable or difficult photo that you took, and why would you say that about it?
Well, clearly the most memorable will have to be the Star Wars on Earth photo that started Top Gun, because
Sure.
that's famous worldwide. It's on the cover of 500,000 books and a whole bunch of people's walls in a giant frame, and it started Top Gun. And without that, there might not have been a Top Gun or a Top Gun Maverick. So for those reasons, and the fact that from my aesthetic eye point of view, there were a lot of things right with that photo. I had all kinds of converging lines. If you look at it, from the clouds to the wings to the ocean to the land, they all converge. So they kind of make your eye, no matter where your eye wanders off to, it keeps coming back to the center. See how the
Right.
wing lines go? Everything goes to the pilot's or the Rio's face. And so it just kind of draws you into the photo, and it looks 3D. And the one you guys have there is not even a good one. It looks like a copy of a copy. So that photo was remarkable because it was also very lucky, because how did I take that?
Yeah,
That's
you
lucky.
just pointed it back over your shoulder. And
Yeah, I
squeeze it,
had
right?
to go. If I did it from the front seat, all you'd see is the side of my ejection seat and very little, maybe part of his face. You wouldn't see his hand. You wouldn't see the helmet. You wouldn't see the
Oh, sure.
right side
Okay.
of the picture. So what I knew I had to do was get the camera as far back as possible. So I turned it upside down because I had to put my arm behind my head. So it was upside down, and I stretched my arm back behind me as far as it could go so I could get it behind my seat. And then I just clicked maybe 5 pictures total, and couple of them, the 2 wingmen were overlapped, and I don't like that in a photo. I like it to be, air between the airplanes.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other little peccadillos about it that I didn't like, but that one turned out perfect. So 1 out of 5 shots blind with just putting this thing way behind my head and taking a picture of ducks worked out. And so that's pretty damn memorable to get that one.
It's famous.
Yeah. And another one I had was the one we had in the bar scene, because I was sitting next to Kelly McGillis for 2 days at this bar, and there it is right on cue. So this one, I was in the lead, and I came around and I saw, wow, the clouds are gorgeous. The ships look great. I'm going to take a picture of this because it's rare to have a 3-ship. And then I could get 2 airplanes, coming in the break as -3. So I give Sky King the lead, a good friend I just saw in South Carolina recently. And he's in most of my photos because he was in my wingman and VF1. So I move out here, and in Pry-Fly, Jimmy MacArthur, who's later an admiral, who was, I think, one of the department heads on with VF1 with me, sees that.
Can you?
And he sees that -3 is way away from 1 and 2. And he gives me some grief about it, rightly so. And then I explained to him that I said, Jimmy Mac, this is going to be an awesome photo. And he goes, well, it didn't look very good coming in. And I said, well, wait till you see the photo. And of course, when we came into the break, I was all tucked in. I just way out here, 2 miles behind the carrier. That's when I took this picture. And so it's funny. I've never told them, and I should. I should tell them, you know, when we're all sitting at the bar and Tom Cruise is singing, that picture in the background, that's the picture where you said I made the formation look bad because I swung out to take the photo. But it's really good. And I have a Army Helo pilot by the name of Murray Jones that's painting it, and he's 99% done with it. And it is unbelievable. I mean, the painting, his technique is so different than anyone I've ever seen. It's photorealistic. And normally I like an artist to be painterly, but he did it photorealistically, and it just looks three-dimensional and jumps off the canvas. It's unbelievable. Cool. I'll send you guys a shot of it. He's still working on it, but it's 99% complete. Gorgeous.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh, yeah, that's very cool.
So that's 2 photos that took on a life of their own, you know, and lasted 40 years after they were taken, and are still really powerful and move a lot of people.
Who's your Rio in that cover shot of Cutting Edge?
Don Ducks Roy.
Okay.
He was the Rio. Although all over the internet, there's several dozen people that claim they were in that shot. And several dozen more that claim they were in the other airplane. But I could tell you Yogi and Possum were, I believe, -2. They were my wingmen. And I think -3 was Kingfish, and I can't remember the rest. But a lot of people say they're in there, which I love. I think that's great, don't you?
Right?
Well, yeah. Yeah. Hey, where geographically were you when you took that picture? Where in the world?
The IO.
Indian
we were
Ocean.
in the Indian Ocean, I believe, for the 2 planes. The South China Sea for the Star Wars on Earth photo.
Okay.
South China Sea.
Oh, I know. I got a question for you. This is in the filming of Top Gun, and since you were right there next to Kelly McGillis, first of all, can you? I forget who it was, and he did a cameo, and I forget what his role was. If it had something to do with Top Gun, he played her older friend in the.
Oh yeah, Pete Pettigrew.
That was Pete Pettigrew. That was it. Yeah.
And he recently passed, you know. So Pete's gone, and his name was Viper.
Viper. That's right. He was the Viper. Okay.
I'm sure that they named the skipper at Top Gun in the movie Viper because of Pete. And I knew Pete real well, MiG killer, reserve admiral. He was, what I loved about him, he played water polo at Stanford. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
And water polo is
you got some lungs to play that
incredibly tough sport. I mean, that is a brutal sport. And he was as you can imagine, one of the first people who did the Ironman, not a triathlon, Ironmans. So he did the one out in Hawaii, and he was good at that. Did those kind of things for years.
Okay.
Yeah, they got him to be a technical advisor on the movie, and there were so many things that drove the Top Gun instructors crazy, and they were all bitching to Viper about it all the time. And at one point he said, "Right now, I'm just trying to keep this from becoming a musical." They wanted 3 ramp strikes, mid-air collisions. I mean, they had Maverick's character dating a dancer at the O Club, who was an enlisted woman that was working part-time.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, Tony brought me that script, and I said that's never going to fly. And sure enough, they cut that all out.
Too funny.
So Viper had to say no to a lot of stuff. It took them 2 years to get him to change the name of the movie from Top Guns, which they saw in the magazine, to Top Gun. And Viper couldn't make them understand. I helped them make them understand. I said, look, Top Gun is the school. That's what the movie's about. The Top Guns in the article were Yogi and Possum, who ironically were my wingmen in the Star Wars on Earth photo. They were the crew that was going through the Top Gun class when that Israeli writer did the story on them. And I did all the photos. I did the photos for the story, and that's how it all happened.
Okay. Then the other question I had. Go ahead.
So since Viper worked for 2 years, being a technical advisor and helping him out with stuff and create the story and all that, they gave him a role. So he was the older gentleman that took Kelly away from the bar and went to the back.
Fantastic. Okay. The other question I had about the movie is, were you there when Darth Vader was there?
What?
Have you seen that? Or to tell me you haven't seen it?
What in
the scene when he's done singing, "You Never Close Your Eyes."
Yeah, you lost that
to
love
Kelly
feeling.
McGillis.
You lost that love and feeling.
Yeah, you've lost a love and feeling. Yeah, that's it. That's the name of the song.
Are you talking James Earl Jones was there in the movie?
No, but somebody is in the background, and the whole thing lasts maybe a second, maybe a little less. There's a Darth Vader. There's a guy, and the editors never caught it and never cut it out. I was wondering, had you seen it?
I'm going to have to look because I was there. We sang that song for 2 days.
You were probably so sick of it. Yeah. If
so
you go
sick.
Google Darth Vader and Top Gun, it will bring you to that scene in YouTube.
No.
On YouTube. Wow. The Darth Vader is in the background in the bar.
like it is in a costume, Darth Vader.
Darth Vader costume. Suit? There's a guy in a Darth Vader costume in the back.
No.
I swear to God.
Okay.
In the back of the club. Yeah.
I'm looking this shit up tonight.
Oh, I swear to God. True story. So, all right. I didn't. Well, no wonder the editors never caught it.
Yeah, I never saw it. I'm hoping when I look at it that I'm in the foreground, right next to Kelly, and Darth Vader's in the background. That'd be really interesting. But me and the other extras got kind of bored, so you kind of lose your energy, and you're just kind of mouthing the words instead of like the first few times where you really put everything into it. And what I noticed and what I wanted to pass on to your fans is the actors, they don't know which scene is going to be in the movie.
Oh, right. So
they give everything in every take. And so they were really hitting it hard at the end. And I was just kind of going through the motions, and that's the one they took. So I've got that on film to be embarrassed forever, just lazily singing the song and trying to act like one of the guys.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. 2 days of shooting. And he would play. He played to get the energy up. Born in the USA, with stadium speakers as loud as they could go. So we heard Born, and then he'd shut that off, and then action, and people would do the scene, and that's how he kept the energy level up.
Oh my gosh!
So that's what I remember from 2 days of shooting at the Roxy. It wasn't even at the O Club because the O Club ceilings were too low.
That's funny.
And
man,
Clarence Gilliard, he was the black guy, Sundown.
Yeah.
He ended up being a really good friend. We had some good times up in Hollywood together on the weekend. And I went to his wedding. He came to my house, and he eventually did Walker
Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah.
in that big white hat.
Oh, that's right. That's
used
right.
to
Okay.
Tell him that white hat looked terrible, and he was also the tech guy in Die Hard.
Yes. I just saw that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he was cool. So he was in Vegas teaching, I think, film in Las Vegas. He was actually a teacher, and now he's gone. So he passed a couple of years ago. So it's amazing. Viper's gone. He's gone. The director's gone.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. Just lost Tony Scott last year, right?
No, a long time ago.
Was it? Okay. I'm thinking of someone else. No, maybe it was Viper we just lost last year.
Viper we lost last year. And
Okay.
Tony, Tony jumped off a bridge in LA.
Oh.
And he had everything going for him. He had a ton of movies, a nice family, a great wife, but had some medical issues and some other things. And I don't know if the chemo got to his brain or if he just got depressed, or I don't even want to speculate, but something made him get out of his car and walk off the edge of the bridge without crossing himself or looking left or right. He just bam. So he was determined to end it, and he did.
Oh, wow. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, we talked for years, and we talked a lot about Top Gun 2, and he told me all about Top Gun 3D, and I remember going to see that. It came out on my birthday, and we talked after that, and he wrote me a bunch of letters, and we had some good ideas for Top Gun 2, but when he passed, that all went away. So Top Gun Maverick was a total surprise to me.
Yeah. What'd you think of comparing the two? That's a tough question to ask, I guess, but because
not really. I mean, everybody thinks that I would hate the sequel, and I was so involved in so many different ways. In fact, I was supposed to have 6 credits in the movie, but the agents for the stars said you can't have more credits than us. Because I did the stills and I wrote a lot of the dialogue, and I was a technical advisor, and I was up there in at Paramount helping put the film together, and the cinematographer and all that stuff. So, and I flew some missions, some of the missions with them. So I said, well, just pick one. And they said, well, you might get a nomination for the cinematography because it's so unique. So why don't you take that? So that's what I took. And I left all the others out. I didn't fight it. I just took that one.
We have do you by chance know Intake? He did some flying.
Scott Cartfit.
He did some flying for that movie. He was a former Blue. He was one of our guests a while back. Last
for
summer.
Maverick or the other one?
Top Gun Maverick, yeah.
Maverick.
Oh yeah. The Blues really helped because there was another Blue. I can't think of his name right now. But Brian was the technical advisor. He was the Viper for Top Gun Maverick, and he did a great job. And he hired a Blue Angel to do all that Dark Star stuff, all the low level stuff.
Yeah,
and,
I bet that was Scott Intake.
Yeah, Scott Cartfit.
It's easy to Google and find out.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like the name I guess on air. But I think there was someone else that did that. And ironically, the lowest one, the 20-foot one, they didn't use. It didn't look real. It was so low. I think they
Isn't that amazing?
I know they used one that it was about.
You do that shit.
And in the movie, you see that little shack. The roof comes off.
Yeah.
There were people there that they had to edit out, and those people thought the roof was going to fall on their head, and they realized after the fact when they looked at it, the wires from the lights on the ceiling inside were attached to the roof. everything, and so it went off, and the wires pulled it back on, and you can see that.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, here, let me just ever so briefly, I'll insert it here again. But so these are screenshots. But if you look in
There
the
he
back
is.
center,
Yeah.
there's Darth Vader back there. Some sailor decided to have some fun and show up on set with a Darth Vader helmet.
Well,
And
it looks like, it's a dark figure back there. I'm not.
It
convinced
is.
it's
And
Darth
when you
Vader.
actually see it in motion, these are still shots that I'm putting up, everyone. But when you see it in motion, it's clear. It's like, oh, yeah, that's someone in a Darth Vader helmet.
Well, it was a Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday nights at Oceana. Everybody knows, or not Oceana. I'm sorry, at Miramar.
Yeah.
That's when
Miramar.
Darth Vader would walk through.
That's right.
Everybody. Come on.
Everyone came in to see him.
Well, Heater, what? How many years total did you spend in the Navy? From
Oh, hold on. Frank Walleye Weiser.
Yeah, that's him.
That's it.
And,
Bago, thank you.
And Brian Ferguson was the Viper for Top Gun Maverick. Did an awesome job, and he's the one that got Frank to do that Blue Angel stuff, the low level stuff, and they did a lot of it. He got to do that low level flight a whole bunch of times over that lake bed, because then they had to do the other one where it looked like he was doing the bombing mission where he pulls up.
Right. So, okay. Sorry, Fig. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Your question about the two movies, even though I had such involvement in the first one, I like the second one better. I take whenever I need to get pumped up, I go to the 1 hour and 19-minute mark of Top Gun Maverick. That's when he steals the F-18 and he comes on the range. The music is awesome. The director, Kaczynski's got the guys and the girls leaning forward in their seats. Every time they show them, they're further forward, and the tension just builds and builds. And he says he's going to do it in 2:15 or whatever. And that's impossible. And he not only does it, he shacks the two bombs. And I don't know, the way that the director filmed that, it's such a crescendo and it's just so exciting. I get so pumped up that every now and then I just turn it right to that point in the movie, watch that, and I'm good for another few hours.
There you go. Right on.
And I loved Top Gun Maverick because Kaczynski, almost everything he did was an homage to Tony Scott. So they used a lot of the same songs, a lot of the dialogue. Even Penny Benjamin was a throwaway line that was once mentioned.
One Admiral's daughter.
And Top Gun 1.
Yep.
And here she is, the star of Top Gun Maverick. And so even the way he lit the characters, sometimes the light was coming through Venetian blinds with interesting shadows, and just the way he married the sequel with the original was just so good. I love Top Gun Maverick. I just thought it was great. And the whole Dark Star thing, especially when he walks down the dusty street in town and finds out he's on Earth from that little kid,
Right. Where am I? Earth.
So good. Who's the famous actor? I'm having a brain fart that did the admiral that wanted to fire Maverick.
Ed Harris.
So Ed Harris, I learned from Fergie, liked to play baseball, and you guys know how. I mean, Heater. If we talk about call signs later, that's how I got my call sign. Heater's a fastball. So I really enjoyed the fact that whenever he got a break, he got his glove and hardball out, and he brought an extra glove, and he would throw with someone. And when they told him about the F-18 scene, and they wanted to have kind of a natural reaction, but they didn't want him to get blown away because they knew that would probably happen. So they only told him, do whatever you can because you're the macho admiral. You're the tough guy. So, and this thing's going to be flying over you at about 650 knots. And and you just have to stand there and let this dust tornado hit you. And so he braced himself and went up there. And if you see the one in the movie again, you'll notice the two things I talked about. One, Ed Harris has to move his left foot back a little bit because it almost knocks him over, and then he regains his stance. And the other, the roof literally comes off the building and then settles back down on the building. So that was pretty cool. And then Fergie told me that what they did was they didn't use like graphics, digital graphics, just to create things out of whole cloth. What they did, like they do with monsters, and they put those little white dots all over your face and hands and arms and shoulders.
Sure.
So you have the points.
Yeah.
So they did that to F-18s and L-39s and helicopters and anything that was in the movie that wasn't real. It was actually a real airplane. However, they put the white dots all over it, and then they put the digital skin of an Su-57 over it. So when you see the airplanes maneuvering, you're seeing a real airplane do that. It just has a different digital skin over the top of it.
How about
Isn't that
that?
cool?
That is
So
way
they
cool.
only needed computer graphics for a few things that you would never do, like fly through the bridge or fly up between two guys that are only about 6 feet apart.
Yeah, right.
and do that, and the canopy to canopy. So a little bit of computer graphics, but so much of that movie underneath what you think is computer graphics is a real airplane. It's just got the digital skin
That's
No
of a
kidding.
Hind helicopter or whatever
That's
else.
fantastic.
Yeah.
How much different would Top Gun, the original Top Gun, have been had the digital age been where it is now?
Completely, because there's nothing in the original movie that's digital. Even the machine gun bullets, when they're taking hits,
Mhm.
I asked them how they did that. They did it old school. They took a needle and scratched the film. That's why they're not perfectly laser straight. They just scratched the film where they needed machine gun bullets. And that's how they made the machine gun shots.
Oh, we know.
Everything else is real except for the spin. When the F-14 is going down,
Sure.
Yeah.
they made this gigantic F-14 model. I mean, it was huge. And they got up on a 2-story ladder, got the cameras down below. Are you ready? And then they spun it and threw it off, and they took pictures of it all the way down. And when the canopy blows off and Rooster breaks his neck on the canopy, which happens in real life with an F-14 in a flat spin, that's why they put it in there. That's why we have the emergency procedures we have. You get rid of the canopy, take 2 turns, let the canopy go away, and then you eject. But in the movie, to cover that, the altitude was too low. So they didn't have time for 2 turns. So he said, just eject. And by doing that, he hit the canopy and died, just like they do in the real world. And they only had 1 chance to get it right because the explosives blew up the cockpit and the canopy, and they couldn't reshoot it. So they got it on the first take, luckily.
Thank goodness.
All right. Shit hot.
Yeah. So that's the main difference. Digital skin and a lot of computer graphics in the second, absolutely none in the first.
Well, how about that?
Oh, that's incredible. And then I guess they also did a lot more flying with the actual characters in Maverick.
Yeah, they tried it originally. I think only Goose. I said Rooster earlier. I meant Goose.
Yeah.
Goose broke his neck. So Goose, Tony Edwards, he did not get sick. Val
Yeah, so
Kilmer,
I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
He was the only one of the characters that didn't get airsick.
Tom got real sick. He hadn't flown before. He hadn't ridden a motorcycle before. And after that movie, he ended up loving flying. Now he owns a bunch of airplanes. He flies a lot.
Yeah.
You know, he made up the syllabus for all the actors. So he's a really good pilot and an instructor, and really knows his shit with jets and props. Hell, P-51 Mustang.
Right.
And an
Yeah.
L-39.
I'd buy one of those if I could.
Yeah, no kidding. So, and that was really him flying the actress at the end of the movie in his own airplane.
That's pretty cool.
So that was pretty cool. But what were we talking about? The
guys that got sick and the guys that didn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Tony Edwards was the only one. Val Kilmer wouldn't fly. I don't know why. He saw no reason to fly. Wasn't in his contract. Didn't want to do it. Some of the other guys flew. They all got sick. There was a primitive type camera compared to Top Gun Maverick in the aircraft. But as Tony said, everybody's face was green and grimacing and puking, so that they couldn't use a single frame. They couldn't use a single frame from the flights. So that was a huge difference. Those in Maverick, they took the whole cast through prop planes and then through the L-39, and actually I think 2 prop planes. The second one was a whole lot of heavy acrobatics and dogfighting, and then the L-39 jet, and then the F-18, and then they had to learn sun angles and how to do the cameras. So they were their own director and cinematographer when they're flying around out there.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And the guy, Hangman, who everybody loves to hate, he threw up like crazy. And he would just wipe it off and get himself ready, shoot the next scene, and then throw up again.
Hurl some more.
Yeah, they said he was a real trooper.
That's Paxton's kid, right?
Hardcore. No.
Oh, Hangman was the other the
Paxton
cocky
kid
guy.
was Bob.
That's right, Bob. Yeah.
Bob, call sign Bob.
Yeah.
Hangman ended up, he's in everywhere you look.
Right. Yes.
He's in so many movies since the Top Gun. So he's got a killer career going, but you could see how professional he was listening to Fergie and other people that were on Maverick that I did. And they told me all the times that he just threw up multiple times a hop and still got all the shots.
Rock on.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Pretty good.
Shit hot.
And in that one, the one person who never throw up, Barbara. Golly. How could I forget her first name? Who knows her name?
Oh,
the main actress.
Yeah, the actress that played the female pilot.
Yeah. And she's been in a bunch of movies since then.
That's the other thing that pisses me off, man. The women tolerate G's better. Monica Barbaro. Yeah.
Yeah, Monica Barbaro. Monica never got sick. I thought she was a superstar in that movie. I loved her.
Thanks, Bago.
Yeah, she was awesome. Played the part really well. Everything was good. And you guys might not know this, but all of us are bombers in F-4s and F-14s. And all of our missions were like that. You run in super low, super fast, and you pop up and you pull down real hard, deliver the bombs, or you loft laser guided bombs. But a lot of times you pull down like that to get bombs on target. The only thing we would have done different, and any aviator knows this, is when you come up the other side, instead of just keep going straight up ballistic and letting all the missiles shoot you, you roll over like you did on the way in, pull 7 Gs over the top, and go back down the other side where nobody can see or shoot you.
Yeah.
And nobody seemed to care about that.
It didn't fit. It didn't fit for.
Didn't fit the storyline.
That's right. There had to be a way to get the missiles to get off the rail.
Yeah. But bottom line, I loved it, and I saw a couple. I had to speak at one. Congress went to a couple of them at IMAX, and they invited me there. And I was one that the Secretary of the Navy did one at IMAX, and some of the actors were there. And I I was sitting there and watching this movie. I got to tell you about my reaction. But when the F-14 came on, everybody in the theater cheered.
Right.
And mind you, most of them, it was for the Navy, so there was a lot of Navy people there. But there are a lot of F-14 fans in the world, because I get DMs and emails and snail mail and all kinds of stuff every day from all over the world about Top Gun, Tomcats, the cutting edge, that sort of thing. But they all love the F-14. So they're cheering that. I'm into the movie like crazy. And now the F-14's flying with Tom Cruise and Rooster in it. And I'm sitting in my seat and I don't realize how excited I am. And I've got a Navy yeoman sitting next to me, a female yeoman, and my wife's on this side, on the right side. And they're flying, and I see the Felon, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it was just like a Su-57. So the digital skin they put on the F-18 or L-39, whatever was really there, was so impressive. I mean, so I'm totally into it. It's no longer a movie for me. And so Rooster says, well, if I wasn't here, you'd do it. And so Maverick thought for a split second, and then bam, he shoots one of them. Right. So now he's in a dogfight with the other guy, and the other guy makes this crazy pedal turn. Remember that in the movie?
Yeah, just stop.
Hard right hand falling leaf type turn, impossible aerodynamically, because he's got vectored thrust and they can do that. But what Maverick didn't do, I did. So I'm sitting in my chair, and this plan form of an airplane, of a Felon, which I'm born to shoot down, flies right in front of me, and immediately I'm thinking, snapshot kill. So I'm like this. I'm sitting in the seat. I go left rudder, idle boards. I grab the stick, turn it to the left, switch to guns, squeeze the trigger, all in a split second. So I make all this commotion, and this girl next to me, the poor yeoman, she's got her hands up around her face and her elbows tight to her chest, and she's looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? And so I'm thinking, oh, shit. So I don't know what to say, so I just go, I'm a fighter pilot, thinking that would explain everything.
Sure, yeah, that makes all sense.
Yeah, but I got the snapshot off, and it would have been a kill.
A kill's a kill.
And to this day, I cannot believe they just watched it instead of trying to put some bullets on that guy. I was shocked.
Oh, fantastic.
Well,
yeah, and I did that. I had no idea that scene was coming, and that all just happened instinctively. I just did it all.
That's great. That is a great story. Thank you.
Indeed. Oh, shit hot.
So there I was in an IMAX theater.
Right? No shit.
Shot kill.
Got the kill. Oh, man. Is there any shot that you've never taken because you went, oh, no, not the time?
No, I've never declined to shoot something if it was gorgeous or aesthetic or unique. I always wanted to do that, just like I wanted to capture an alien craft, but I always flew with my camera. Every time I ever flew or went anywhere, I always had my camera. As a working journalist, I never went anywhere the whole time I was a journalist without two cameras loaded up, two different speeds of film and two different lenses, so I would be able to get anything instantly. And so it was pretty natural to take it in the cockpit. The problem is when you're a pilot, you miss a million shots for every one you take. It's just, you're too busy doing stuff. And well, I've
Yeah.
I've clicked the shutter in my brain with my eyes zillions of times and thinking, oh my God, look at that. Especially over Iraq and over some other interesting places. But no, I've never not taken a shot because of I don't know what you're thinking of. I don't know what.
No, I'm just wondering if there was any time you were going to go and you went, oh, now's not the time to put anything, to record anything. Just let it happen and enjoy it, or leave it private or whatever. So that's all I'm thinking.
No, what it is, just so you know what it's like. You're flying around like you're on your way back to the ship after a mission, and your wingies joining up on you, and you're looking at the sun just starting to plunk into the water, on the horizon, and the sky's every color of red, orange, yellow, and you reach back, pull out the camera, click, put it back in the map case, fly. Yep. So in less than 4 seconds, you got a shot. Yeah. And out of every couple hours of flying, maybe I get 3 or 4 shots that I had the time to do it. But usually it's in Marshall, overhead landing, or rendezvousing on a tanker or something like that, where things are kind of static. You just can't shoot in a dynamic situation. Yeah, that one is over the Indian Ocean. That's two of my
sunset behind, maybe sunrise, but behind two Tomcats. Yeah.
Yep. That was a nice one.
Yeah.
And that's before Photoshop. I mean, now with AI and Photoshop, people could make my stuff look terrible. But I use really nice Fujichrome and Kodachrome, and I had luscious, rich, saturated, gorgeous photos. So I was really proud of them. But now anybody could make them and make them better.
Are there any photos that you took that didn't become, that it wasn't until years later you went, oh, there's something there that I didn't realize I had? Or did you right away, were you either, obviously, I don't know what the actual ratio is, but for every really nice photo you got, you probably have 99 you threw away, right?
Yeah, I was more like a sniper, so I was more selective than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because if you use the motor drive, for instance, you'd be through a roll of film so fast, and nobody likes to take bunches of rolls of film and then undo your camera and put a new roll of film in and all that stuff. So you kind of use one roll of film for maybe 6 flights. And maybe you get 36 pictures if you take 6 a flight. And then I always composed, focused, looked at it, clicked. And then I knew, after taking hundreds of thousands of photos and getting thousands of them published as a journalist, I knew when I got the photo. I didn't have to wait, until they were developed. So yeah. I didn't have to go, oh, let's reshoot that or one more time. I knew whether I got it or not. And I would just confirm it with the developing and go, oh, that's cool. But now I'm opening up boxes that have moving tags on them from 7 different moves in the Navy. You probably have some of those.
Oh, yeah. Still got tags.
You never open up. They end up in the garage or the attic.
Yep.
And I've got probably 50, 60,000 slides in there.
Oh, boy.
And so I started going through them, and I realized I'm going to have to get a much better setup because it's too inefficient. It'll take me 10 years the way I was doing it. But like you said, Repeat, I would come across kind of a photo, and there's an airplane on the back end of the carrier and a couple of maintenance guys around it, and maybe the air crew's pre-flighting it, and a gorgeous sunset behind them. And I go, why didn't I ever use this? This is freaking amazing. This is gorgeous. And the colors were really rich and deep. And so I'm wondering how many in that 60,000 slides I have would be good enough to be published, like a calendar or something. Oh, yeah. So That's yet to find out. And there's some like that, because like I said, when I shoot it, if it's not the way I thought it was in my mind, I'm so mad I reject it. And my roommates used to find the rejects in the wastebasket, and they'd pull them out, and they'd go, "Peter, never throw away another image again. I'll take all of your images." And so, sure enough, years later, I find these rejects all over the internet that people have published, and I threw away.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Look at that.
Thank you,
And
Bago.
there's-
Got an F-14 coming up on the elevator.
Yeah,
Moonlight
there's
in the background.
No, there are two stories to this one. Would your audience mind if we talked about this one? Even
No,
though
yeah, sure. So let me describe it quickly, though. So it's a darkened F-14 nose on, and it looks like moonlight possibly reflecting off the ocean behind it, and it appears to be on the elevator. I could be wrong. It's somewhere on a carrier deck.
Yeah, well, the elevator will come up later, because that's how Tony spent $22,000 trying to
Right. He
emulate
wrote a check.
this shot.
Yeah.
He saw this shot. Two guys sitting there on the round down, and black silhouette of an F-14. And Tony was on the ship, and then Bill Bottolato, the producer, was out there, and he came back from the shoot after they were out there, and they said, "Heater, you cost us $22,000." And he told me this story. He said, Tony had a bunch of your pictures put on styrofoam, and he would look at them and then try to replicate them. And he had this one, and he couldn't figure out how you did it. And I said, that's because we had a huge pitching deck that day. The bow was going up 20 feet, and the stern was going down.
Mhm.
So I said, I went way up on the angle deck, took a long telephoto, and waited till the stern dropped way below the horizon. That's why all that water's there. That water shouldn't be there.
That water's maybe 25% from the top of the screen. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Most of the airplane.
Normally the round down would be,
hiding the water, right?
Yeah, hiding all but a sliver of the water.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking down at the water, because the bow is way up in the air, and Tony doesn't know that. So he's got to replicate the shot. So he finally figures out, oh, Heater must have put it on an elevator, and the elevator must have been down close to the water. So he gets an F-14 on the elevator down, but he doesn't get the reflection in the background. So he needs the ship to turn like 50 degrees to the left to get the sun. And he runs up to the bridge, and he tells the captain, I need you to turn over there about 50 degrees, and I'll get the shot. And the captain said, nope. We were told everything we do out here was operational. We're carqualing. You can shoot whatever you want, but I'm not turning the ship. And he goes, I'll pay for it. And the captain's like, well, I have no idea what that'll cost. And he said, well, have your guys come up with a price. I will pay for it. So you're not going to believe this. They amortized the salaries of the 5,000 people on the ship.
No.
Yes. And then they said, how long will it take us to turn 50 degrees left? And then they said, how long will it take you to get the shot? He said, less than a minute. You give me 60 seconds, I'll get the shot. And they said, all right, a minute for the shot, and then this many minutes to get back. And they figured out the salaries and the fuel for the carrier for the time it would take to do that. And they said $22,000. So he pulls out a personal check and he gives it to him. And he didn't have the money in the bank. It would have bounced anyway. Yeah. And I said, so how'd you square that away, Bill? And Bill Bottolato told me they saved some money on other parts of the shoot, so they were able to give the Navy the 22 grand and not have Tony's check bounce. So anyway, The ship did it. The captain did it. Tony got the shot. It's in the movie. And it was all from that photo. Now, that photo has a second story, much shorter. I'll keep it much shorter. My skipper in the RAG was Admiral Spook Heatley, you know, Jay Heatley, maybe. Very famous aviator, ended up being an admiral. And his wife had cancer, and she was going through chemo, and she just felt terrible. And Spook tells me, you know, Kathy holds up your book every night before she goes to bed and looks at that double spread photo you got in the book of that F-14 silhouetted, and it brings her peace and calm. And I said, you're kidding me. You know how frail she is? And she goes, yeah. She kind of sets it on her chest and holds it. And so I went out and I printed that picture, mounted it on a styrofoam board. So it's super lightweight, like weighs like 4 sheets of paper, and gave it to Kathy. And she would look at that picture every day until she died.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
that's
great story. Thank
so
you.
yeah, there's always a story behind the good photos.
Well, and
like
it's
a
art, and it's powerful.
Yeah.
You know, it means so many things to different people when they see it. And you did that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So when you think back on your career, flying all the different airplanes you flew, doing all the incredible things you did in an airplane, and then you look at the pictures that you've taken, do you think that you could have done one without the other?
No, because you got to remember, if we're on a cross country car trip, you know, I'm taking photos of the Grand Canyon or any other thing that I can compose, and it's gorgeous, aesthetically pleasing, you know, I'm shooting it. So I'm always looking for the photo. So just because I'm a pilot, yeah, 99% of the time I'm doing fighter pilot shit. But when I see a photo and we're at 1G max conserve, you know, in Marshall or whatever, and I can pull my camera out and get a picture, yeah, I'm going to try and get that picture. So I don't think I could have done anything in my life without the camera. The camera has always been a part. And now I don't use my Nikon much anymore, but that's because the iPhone's so good. So I still take all kinds of photos. And even at my jobs, I was at big places like BAE has 40,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So who does the C-suite, the level portraits? They get me. I'm at work. I'm a senior vice president with a whole shop doing really cool counterterrorism shit. And I have to stop, get my camera, set up light, set up the background while the superstars of the company come through, and I take all their portraits for corporate and LinkedIn and all kinds of stuff. So I can't look at LinkedIn or Facebook without seeing a picture of somebody I know, and a lot of times my friends, that they're using for their portrait that I shot.
Right.
So it's not just airplanes.
Yeah.
And pets. I shoot pet pictures for people, and you know, I just try to make them special, and I guess they are. The people really like them. Yeah, they said there was a time you could walk around the Navy portion of the Pentagon, and everybody's screensaver was one of my shots.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe
Probably
it.
still to this day, bunch
Yeah.
of them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Heater, how many years total did you serve in the Navy?
28.
28. Slacker.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Quitter.
awesome.
Couldn't stick it for 30. Come on.
Retired as a
Had to quit.
06
I
in the Navy.
I retired as an 06, and I I can't regret not doing another couple of years because they gave me an awesome freaking job. Can you imagine being the defense attaché in Brussels and you live in a castle?
No.
And the castle has a parapet that the guy that had the job before me was trying to talk me into coming. He was talking about all the deer and the peacocks outside and the moat around the castle and how it's so big that in the wintertime they have to plywood off half of it so they can heat the half that you're going to live in, but you live in the whole castle the rest of the time. So I would have been there working with every European country, with the CIA, obviously, and being the defense attaché in Brussels. But then my two kids were graduating from high school and going into college. And how am I going to get them out of high school and into college if I'm on the other side of the pond? So I turned it down. And it would have been an awesome job. And I got to thank whoever in the Navy put me up for that, because it was a really sweet job. And I already had a sweet job. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs extended me twice. So I got 4 years in my major command ashore. And it was a terrific job at JWAC, but that's so classified we can't say much more than that.
Can't even say JWAC.
Yeah,
now you got to kill us all. So
no, you can say JWAC, nice vanilla name, Joint Warfare Analysis Center.
there you go.
To cover what we did. But
Well, the other thing you just said is a perfect segue to closing the loop, which is CIA. And it seems to me you were airborne with a certain admiral in your back seat when the CIA put out a call.
yeah, there I was off the coast of Somalia, and because I had the admiral in my back seat, I was the only guy he would fly with. He was a black shoe, and I was the air ops officer for the entire battle group. So
Okay, so the Black Shoe is a surface warfare Navy, not a pilot. Yeah.
But he got a lot of F-14 time with me. We'd fly into Riyadh, Qatar, and Bahrain, and one time I flew him on a missile shoot where the missile went off the flare that we were dragging for all the people on the carrier to watch and start coming at us. And that's another story. And I got an admiral in the back seat with a winder coming at me. So this story involves no weapons, unfortunately. I thought it was going to, but they said, all right, come up on this frequency. We got a special mission for you. So I come up and they said, head over to Kismayo, which ironically, I was just on the roof of the Mogadishu airport talking to Dan Rather, who remembered me from a med cruise where he was talking about the Sparrow missile. He's a big CBS reporter.
Right.
They had ABC, NBC, and CBS on 3 of the 4 corners of the airport, all doing a thing. This is before Black Hawk Down, before it got super nasty, but after the Marines came ashore. And that's why the battle group left the Gulf to be down there to help the amphibs get all their Marines ashore for the whole Mogadishu thing. And there were dead bodies all over the place, and tribes, and Dan Rather told me a bunch of really amazing stories about Kismayo. And I only mention that because that made me realize why the CIA was in Kismayo, which is a little south of Mogadishu, with a runway and a hangar. They said we got 3 black 130s in there, and they're stuck, and they can't come out of the hangar. And they said there's a technical on the end of the runway, and a technical is basically a Toyota truck with a big machine gun in the back, and a couple guys in the front with weapons. And they were sitting at the runway knowing that the wind was a certain way, and knowing that those guys they saw go in eventually have to come out and take off, and they were going to pick them off at the end of the runway. And so they said, and I'm thinking, oh man, am I ever good with this gun? I mean, we couldn't even shoot at the spar, which is the target they drug behind the aircraft carrier with the gun. You had to shoot 6 feet to the right of it, because if you shot at it, you'd blow it up and then nobody had a target to shoot at. That's how accurate the F-14 gun is.
Okay.
So I'm
Put the thing on the thing.
thinking, all right, if I can't shoot down a MiG, at least I'm going to kill a Toyota pickup truck and get these 3 guys airborne. And so I gladly tell them I've got winders, sparrows, and guns. So anything you need. No weapons. We can't fire any weapons. And you just got to get them airborne safely. So I think the Admiral, Bill Hancock, Wild Bill Hancock, good friend I just visited in North Carolina. And we're still friends to this day. So he goes, so how are you going to do that? And
Yeah, right.
instead of telling him, I just told the crew. I said, you guys get started, get out to the hold short, and when you're ready to roll, let me know. And I'm going to let you roll, and I'm going to start a supersonic pass a few miles behind you. And by the time you get halfway down the runway, I'm going to pass you, and I'm going to be heading right for that truck. And that truck will not be manned by the time you get to the end of the runway. And so I didn't have a lot of gas, so I had to do this right. So I stayed up real high, like 10,000 feet. And I'm looking down at 3, and they were literally and figuratively black. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were painted black, and they were black. They weren't there. Nobody knew about them. Covert mission. So these 3 big prop planes come taxiing out of the hangar, and they go the whole short about 1.5 miles away from this guy in the truck. And they're running him up. And I can see from the dust, they're running him up. So I start my spiral down to get speed and get my timing. And I said, let me know when you're rolling. So the lead says 1's rolling. And then I hear 2's rolling, and then 3's rolling. And I'm coming down in my big turn, 600, 650, 700, 750. And I get it down on the ground, probably 20 feet, and probably lower, probably 15 feet off the ground. And I'm eyeball to eyeball with the truck, right? So I can even see it when I hit the runway, and the aircraft are just perfect. They're almost to the middle. The lead's almost to the middle, and I pass them going about 800 miles an hour. And I'm looking for a muzzle flash, because I can't shoot. If I see a muzzle flash, I was going to shoot and let them court-martial me. But you can't shoot because the F-14, the gun is canted up. So if I would have tried to shoot, I would have had to be aiming down, and that would have crashed me right in the ground to try to shoot him. I would have had to pull up and then come around and make a dive bombing run and shoot him. But what I was going to do, if I saw a muzzle flash, I was going to at least jink, because I didn't want to take 50 cal up my intakes.
No way.
And so I'm going at him. And before I get there, the guy in the truck bed bails out. So I see him dive out the side of the truck. And I go over him, and I look when I look back, there's a rooster tail on the whole runway. There's like this tornado of dust that I kicked up all the way down the left side of the runway. And I pull the airplane up, put left wing down, and look. The right door opens. I don't see a guy bail out. The left door opens. The guy bails out, and he's running after the other guy that ran out of the bed. They're both running as far away as they can. And the 3 guys get airborne, and they say they're good to go. Thanks a lot, Wichita. And that was our call sign. And I go, Roger that. Have a good one. And that was the
Back to mother.
back to mother, which is another story. That's a whole other story.
Well,
Well,
there you
was
go.
it-
Maybe an extra for us.
Was
Yeah.
that your Finney flight?
Didn't know it at the time, but we headed to Perth after that. And from Perth to home, they decided that 06s probably shouldn't be sucking up gas from the JOs, because you know how flying is really reduced on the way back.
Sure.
So that was my last flight. I didn't know it, but I ended my career, and I was just with the LSO who waved me in Arizona. I was just playing ball there, just ate dinner with him and his wife. His call sign is Maverick. He was in VF-21 way before Top Gun, and his call sign was Maverick way before Top Gun. Mark Garcia. So we just talked about this because he didn't realize what happened before. He only saw the shit hot break. So you got to understand now, after all of that, everybody has landed in the whole air wing, and the ship is just sitting there on the base recovery course, waiting for this one lone Tomcat to come back and land.
So you got an open slate.
Open slate, which means most of your viewers know you better do a shit hot break, which means you come in really fast, a little lower than normal, and the main thing is you break at the round down. So I said, Admiral,
That's the back of the ship for you non-naval aviators.
Very, very back of the ship there where it's rounded down, where you have the ramp strikes. And so I go, Admiral, are you ready for 6.5 Gs? And he said, you bet. I think he said, whatever it takes, Heater. And so we come into the break all alone. I mean, the airplanes are already tied down, and we're the only ones left. And so I hit that thing at 650 last time I looked. Boom, at the round down. And I leave the wings in manual because I got a lot of airspeed to bleed. I don't want them to come out in auto, or I would have done a 360 and would have had to come back around. I would have had so much speed. I would have passed the ship at 250 if I wouldn't have done it. And 250 is the gear speed. So I'm at the 90, and I'm just now getting the gear out and the wings out. As I'm rolling into the groove, I'm putting the flaps down. So I'm probably 30 knots fast when I roll into the groove, and I'm still at idle. And I'm waiting for it to slow down, but I'm on the glide slope, fast as hell, decelerating all the way. By the time I get to the ramp, I get it on speed. I've been on lineup the whole way. I landed on the 3-wire, and Mav gives me an OK3 shit hot break. OK3,
Outstanding.
OK3, no comment, shit hot break. But he gave me a verbal comment. He goes, obviously you were fast all the way. I go, yeah. I know. I said, did you see me at the 90? I didn't even have my gear down. He goes, yeah, I know. That's why I gave you a shit hot break. So that was pretty cool. And really cool that in November, just 3 weeks ago, I was sitting in that LSO's dining room with his wife talking about this story.
That's great.
The guy who waved me. It was so cool.
That's
the shit we got to do.
Yeah.
Indeed. What a blessing.
I know.
What a blessing.
And that was my last hop. My 1,124th trap, and something over 2,500 hours in the F-14 Tomcat. And last time I ever flew a Navy jet.
Wow.
Shit.
Well, if you had to pick a way to finish, that ain't bad.
Right?
No, other than combat or a MiG kill, that's how I wanted to go out. Yeah, that ain't bad.
That's true. But if they say you're only as good as your last hop, well, shit hot. Doesn't get any better than that.
yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Got 3 kills without having to fire a shot and a shit hot break OK 3-wire. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a great.
Guys go their entire careers and never get to do any of that shit. So very cool.
Save the CIA.
Yeah.
Right?
Not too many people can say that.
And and nobody could talk about it.
No,
we
you just did.
We didn't even debrief it.
no, that didn't happen, right? It didn't happen for a long time.
Just made up a story for us. So.
Well, listen, we've been at this a really long time, and I just want to thank you so much for sharing your stories with us, Heater. You are truly a legend, and I feel like I'm talking to a true aviation legend.
I mean, aside from the Blue Angels and the Top Gun movies, I don't think there's anybody out there who's done more for naval aviation than Heater. No single individual. Let
me tell you, there are so many people in the Navy because of the cutting edge, and I have all their letters.
Yeah.
And some of them have passed down the cutting edge to their kids who are now joining the Navy because it's been 40 years. So
that just doesn't seem possible.
I am talking
I know
hundreds and hundreds of people, and not just fighter pilots. E2, S3, EA6. They got Air France, KLM. It was published in Italy and France and Spain and England. And
the ordnance men who are loading the airplanes and working on them on the carrier. And
oh my God, yeah, it inspired people to fly, and also photographers. There's a judge in Texas. Figure this, and I know him because my baseball team plays the Republican congressional team to get them ready to play the Democrats. And ever since we started playing them, they've been winning. They won the last 4 since we've been scrimmaging them. So one of the guys is Jake Elzy. He's a congressman. He used to be a helo pilot, and then he went F-14s and F-18s. So very unusual career, but he knew this judge in Texas who got a hold of me because we both know Jake, the congressman. The judge tells me he does murder trials, and they're very taxing, and they really stress him out. And he said, "Do you know what I do when I'm contemplating or when I want to go out and take pictures and get my mind off everything? I bring out the cutting edge and I flip through it, and it inspires me, and I go take pictures, and I leave all this judgeship behind, and I come back." And he goes, "I just want to thank you for that book. I look at it every week." So that's just the tip of the iceberg of the kind of non-aviator stories that the cutting edge has inspired.
Yeah.
So when you think about me looking at those books and deciding I want to fly, and then being able to make a book that inspired people like me to go fly, it's just a perfect bookend. You know what I mean? It's just
perfect.
Really satisfying.
Absolutely perfect. Well, sir, we have to thank you for your service, not only to our nation, but to obviously to naval aviation. That, like I said, there's not but anybody that's done more for naval. Probably not one individual who's done more for naval aviation than you have. The thousands of people who have joined the Navy and the Marines, inspired by your art. So, thank you for that, and thank you to all of our active duty veterans, first responders, and the families who carry the load at home, that help them, support them in doing what they do. That's a big deal. As your bride of 53 years can tell you, there was probably a time or two when she was holding down the home front while you were out doing cool shots.
Absolutely. I mean, I had 7 cruises. That's like 6-7 months each. And 3 months of workups. So
that's over 4 years at sea right there. Just on cruises.
Absolutely. Gone. Good so golly. She's holding down the fort, raising 2 kids. So yeah, big props to her.
So indeed.
And next time we'll talk about call signs and dogfighting.
We'll get there. In the extras for the Patreon supporters.
I just
there we go. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, that's a great.
Come join us over on Patreon for call signs.
All right. I'll hang out if you want to do another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Hey, we got a quick thank you to our advertising support from Dave Hamilton at backbeatmedia.com.
Absolutely. Dave gave us all the knowledge to do our show and helps us get the advertising. And thanks to all our donors at SoleraWoes.us/Patreon and SoleraWoes.us/donate. You folks rock. Your cash contributions help keep this show coming to you, keeping these amazing stories coming out over the airwaves. We know that you have lost all sense of financial responsibility, and we're grateful for that.
We're questioning your judgment, but we really appreciate you, and we're humbled. Thank you.
Indeed.
Let's see. So there I was, .us/subscribe.
Yeah. Come subscribe to the show. If you like these shows, we got more. This is 190 and 191. We got more shows right here just for you. Go subscribe.
Hey, and give us a 5-star rating.
Right. So there it was. .us/rate.
Yeah. If you can't give us 5 stars, tell us what we can do to make it 5 stars. We're trainable, for crying out loud.
If you have to give a 3-star rating, go find another show.
Yeah,
give it to them. Come back and tell us what we can do to make our show better. Give us 5 stars in the meantime. We'll get there.
Big thanks to Bago, who's been in the background for the last
just
2 hours,
rocking it.
50 minutes, throwing everything up there right before somebody says it. Thank you, Bago, and Sticks, who's usually there also, and Badass, that's BDS Aviation Photography, for sharing some of your photos.
Right. I mean,
he sent me
here's another artist whom I think you have probably inspired, Heater. That's one of his shots there. Not a pilot, but a hell of a photographer.
Yeah, he sent me a picture today and said, "What do you think of that?" And
that's
very similar to that one. Yes.
Marine Corps 250th birthday paint job on the last of the Harrier squadrons, VMA 223 Bulldogs.
Ironically, our old squadron.
Yeah.
And then finally, that music in the background there. Yeah, that's the 2 F-16 pilots that make the Air Force sound good. That's the Dos Gringos. Thank you.
Indeed.
The 2 Gringos.
Thank you, Gringos,
for
letting us use your music and for making it all sound good. I don't know, Fig, any advice for folks until next week?
Don't sit on the ejection seat handle.
Don't do it. Stay safe and check 6.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit, on the tanker, through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the...
That was the wrong one. What did he normally say, Fig?
He said it's over. He said it's over.
Bugging out and going home.
Shit.
Jeez, I cracked myself up.
And we're out. I can't believe I hit the wrong one. Hit the wrong outro. Oh, well.
Hey, you know what?
I'll fix it in post. Like the traveling wheelberries. We'll bury it in post. So, all right, welcome back, Bago.
You did the entry sound.
I did the entry instead of the outro. Yeah. So,
all right. Good job, Bago.
That was amazing. Everybody, thank you for watching live stream with us. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off since we've been going so long. We're going to get our extra out with Heater here. And thank you for joining us. So good night, everyone.